Isn't that professional as fuck?
That is, but I love hearing about Ryback. I ain't heard anything about that guy in forever.
That was back in the day when people gave a damn about Ryback. Well,
when was that? What year was that?
That was 2013, maybe.
I was thinking because he's been threatening to sue WWE now for about 5 years.
Yeah, he's not wrestling anywhere right now either.
I thought he went to AEW. Did he not go?
No, I don't think he's. So we're all the way live, man. That's professional as it gets right there. High tech, redneck. Uncle Bill, you got a toboggan on.
I got my boggy on.
Vestron Video.
You know who I got this from? Take a guess.
Michael Slipcase Filter.
That's right. That some bitch got it for free and then sold it to me on an auction. Because he was working on the Vestron titles.
That's a nice looking boggin. Can't get any better than that. Is that new or is that like old school?
I've had this. I mean, I honestly don't know how old it is. I've had it for a couple of years, but I think it has to be kind of new. I think it came out when they were doing the new Vestron Blu-rays, and he was working on those. I think that's when he got it.
Yeah. So
now I don't know. I don't know if they had those made then, or if this is something that they just gave him that they had laying around. I have no idea.
Yeah, it looks kind of newer. Like you wouldn't think that they would have had that made back in the 80s, but maybe. Who knows?
No, I don't think these kind of boggies were that popular back in the 80s like this. Maybe they were. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of like, well, the difference between the knit hat and the toboggan is the toboggan has the part you curl up, right?
Yeah, this has got the curled up.
Oh, okay. So it is a toboggan.
Yeah, it's a boggy. I call them boggies.
Okay.
Or boglins.
Boglins are coming back, and I already pre-ordered mine.
I can't believe that, man.
New boglins.
You sent me that, and I'm like, they really will make anything. Like remake. Yeah,
well, anything. I mean, the guy's going full steam ahead. The guy that's making the boglins, he's remaking all of them. So, but yeah, tonight's the night, Uncle Bill. We've hopped this up about 3 days. That's good for us. You know, we was originally going to do this on Wednesday, but technical issues, you know, some of that snow's melted and internet and power and everything is back on here in Eastern Kentucky. So we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I actually didn't have internet for like 2 or 3 days there, thanks to the snow ice storm of 2021.
Yeah, I think throughout next week at least, our weather is going to be a little bit warmer, so we don't have to worry about it for at least a week.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the 50s, I think. Thank God.
Yeah. So, but tonight, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is something I've been thinking about doing for a long time because I got back into watching these movies. I don't know if you do this, but I do this like every now and then. I'll get back into a particular franchise that like I haven't watched in years or even thought about in years, and then I'll go through every movie, and in this case watch like the first 3 a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah, not so much the fourth one.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about all of them. I don't know how in depth we're going to get on all of them, but yeah, I mean, the fourth one in particular, I definitely wanted to rewatch it because I had only seen it the one time when it was 2011. So it's 10 years old. That movie is at this point. And I really didn't recall anything about it. I didn't really remember anything about it. To be honest with you, I was getting the plot line with Sydney confused with the third movie, where she was kind of like a recluse and she was living up in a ranch or whatever. I was thinking that was part 4. Like that aspect of it was in part 4, but no. We'll get into it.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, like all of the plot lines of Sydney, I get confused after part 1. Like what she's doing in part 2, 3, or 4, it's all kind of like mixes together.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this today. I mean, honestly, looking back at it, I think it would have been better had they just killed Sydney off in like the second one or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they did Adrian King and just started with a new group.
Yeah, I mean, it probably would have been because it kind of runs its course through the sequels, but
we got some angry people on here. Angry Popcorn TV. He even says that Scream 2 sucks ass.
God damn, man, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but I mean, that's one opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. So Suspiria Night is requesting the Cursed retrospective. That's coming next week. That's what we're doing next week.
Listen, no joke though. That movie has like a ton of stories behind it that would be pretty cool to get into about how much bullshit went on behind the scenes of that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Rick Baker was attached to that movie at one point in time.
There was all kinds of people attached to that movie at one time.
He was supposed to make the werewolf transformations in that movie.
Isn't that one of those movies too where there's different cuts of it? So there was a different version of it that was completed for like a year, and then the studio didn't like it, and then they just kind of refilmed a lot of stuff with a different cast. And I mean, there's all kinds of, that would be an interesting topic to discuss. I mean, just the history of that movie, and with technology the way it is now, I mean, why not bring that movie out, the original version of the movie? I mean, hell, it'd be something to see if it exists.
What a great name for that movie too, considering everything that happened to it. It really truly was cursed.
Yeah, it was the modern day Poltergeist. Wes Craven's career around this time was interesting too, because this was after Scream 3. He did like people forget about these movies. Cursed, Red Eye was another one that he did. Unfortunately, he did My Soul to Take as well.
God, I forgot about that one.
That was the dead pit on the road that was stolen from the fans too. You remember that?
Was that when we got the computer stuff?
That was when we got the camera. And then, like, I don't know, there was a bunch of shit that was stolen from your vehicle. The Strand Twin in Prestonsburg.
Apparently that was a really common thing too. I found out later on.
Yeah.
Like people that would park out there beside the bank and stuff, they would just break into their cars.
Yeah. So
that was nice. That was nice of them. They stole my damn briefcase and all my when I was teaching. I remember that because I had to call and be like, well, they stole all of my files and the charts and everything for people that were in my class.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was just, I don't know, that pissed me off to no end. And I got the impression the entire time that, like, that cop was like, yeah, you're probably not going to see it again. Sorry.
That's exactly what he said, too.
Yeah.
He was like, well, you're kind of screwed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, when you rely on the Prestonsburg PD, the funding for their department is probably not as good as it once was.
No.
So, anyway. Scream. That's what we're here for. We're getting a little bit of a crowd in here. 26 people watching us. So we haven't done a retrospective in a while. I can't even remember the last one that we did, but it's the new Scream movie, which is just simply titled Scream, is coming, I think, next year. And it is the 25th anniversary of the original Scream movie, which is bizarre to think, and we've talked about this, that 1996 is 25 years ago. Now, technically, it'll be exactly 25 years in December, and it's weird because I don't remember Scream came out in December, the first couple, December of 96 and December of 97. That's kind of a weird time for a horror movie to come out, but it worked well for the first movie for sure, financially.
Yeah, I mean, 1996. I don't remember if a lot of people know this or even really think about this now, but this movie, when it came out, really saved horror films because at that time, but prior to Scream, there was really nothing coming out for years. Like the whole 80s boom had died down, and when like the early 90s, there was really like nothing was coming out. Like you had horrible, it's almost like wrestling, like the same kind of way. Like there was a big boom, then a down period, and then Scream came in and it made it like popular to like horror films again because of the way that the movie was set up. Like they went back and talked about all the old horror films, which made people go back and start watching those movies again. And also people that had never seen them would watch them for the first time. And I remember, that was when we were in high school, and that time period was like everybody got back into to horror films. That's just kind of what it did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. There for a while there, I got out of, I think there was a time period where I was hardcore, like this was a couple of years earlier, into like NBA basketball. I got hardcore into that for like a year and a half. And then I got back into wrestling. And then shortly thereafter, I got back into horror movies. So I can remember Monday Nitro, WCW Monday Nitro, got me back into watching wrestling. I only taken like a year and a half off from that. And Scream got me back into horror movies because it got everyone talking about horror again. The 90s throughout probably 1990 or maybe even starting in the late 80s onward, the popularity really went down. I mean, mainstream horror at least. And you got to think, I mean, we were kids at the time. We didn't have the internet then. I didn't, at least.
No.
So the only grasp we had on the genre was video stores and the movie theaters. So, we were sophomores in high school at this point, Uncle Bill. And this was probably around the time we were in library class, writing down tag teams and
it was, yeah,
everything. So, yeah, and I remember, well, evidently it was December. The word started to get out about this movie. And you said you saw this one in theaters. I don't think I saw it in theaters. But do you remember where you were at? You were down, was it the Strand down here?
Yeah, I remember like who I was with. Even though I probably shouldn't even say that, but yeah, at this point in my life. But I remember I went and saw it, and it was at the Strand, and it was packed, and it got like what you don't see a lot nowadays, which is the jump scares and things like that you would expect it to get in all the places. And when you walk, at least when I walked out of that movie, you kind of realize that you had seen something that never really been done before. I mean, well, I guess it had been done before, but we hadn't seen anything like that before. Like the first mainstream horror film that really referenced other horror films and like was self-aware and it was also like a comedy, which you hadn't seen a lot of to that point. And up to that point, like I remember this clearly too, before that point, everything in cinema at that time was action movies. And that kicked off with Terminator 2, which would have been 92, I think, 91, 92.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you had Speed and all that shit. But everything was centered around like action films. And then this brought everything back around to horror. So like before that.
Yeah, I think meta slasher or meta horror movie is kind of what it's called, because it's kind of like you're kind of in on what's going on. It's a smarter audience is what it was going for. And it references, it's kind of makes fun of itself. Like you were saying, they're talking about sequels and trilogies later on and remakes. So yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say people don't realize this, but because Craven wrote most of his own stuff, but this was not a Wes Craven script. Like he just directed this movie. This was Kevin Williamson, and this movie had been shopped around for a long time before Wes Craven was attached to it. And there was kind of a bidding war on it, and then he got it. And I remember this story too, because it's a great story, where he had decided not to do the film. and had turned it down, and they were still like shopping it around. He went to a horror convention, and at that time, I don't know what he was making, but I think he was making dramas or something. Like he made it might have been Music of the Heart or something like that. That was like,
oh God, yeah,
like a drama or something. And he was signing somebody's poster or whatever, and they said to him, man, like, I love your dramas and stuff, but you've gone soft. Like, you really need to make like another kick-ass horror film like Last House on the Left or Hills Have Eyes. And I've heard him tell this story before, and he said, like, the guy was right. Like, he was so worried about what people were, like that stuff was too much for people that he just kind of backed off on all that. And, that encounter, I guess, sparked something in him to want to do it. And so he took it.
Yeah. And we'll talk about the movie as well. Like, I remember the first time I saw this movie, I'm almost positive, was rented it on DirecTV. Like it may have been January, February the next year on DirecTV. And because I'd heard hype for a while on it, since it came out in the theater. And then that opening scene, I think that opening scene got everybody, because that sort of thing had not been done, where the killer was referencing, it was almost like a trivia game with Drew Barrymore. Right. And then, she's like the star of the movie. If you don't know any better, she's on the poster. Drew Barrymore is the star. She's the big name. Right. And she is, she's taken out within the first, 10, it's maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If that. So that surprises the hell out of everybody for the first time that had seen it. I don't think a lot of people really think about that now, but unless you were spoiled, by somebody that had already seen it, you would never, ever have expected that because, hey, it's Drew Barrymore. She's on the poster, she's the biggest star in the movie and she's killed off just like that. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he took a page from Psycho and kind of set it up to where you think that Drew Barrymore is the heroine and she gets killed off immediately. Another thing I like about that intro to the movie is it starts immediately. Like if you remember the beginning of it, the phone rings.
Yeah.
She goes and it immediately starts, which was great. Like there's no setup. There's no, you're just right in the middle of all this by the beginning of the movie.
The movie is and I watched it today again for the first time in a while, actually. The movie is very 90s.
It is.
The credit sequence and stuff like that. I mean, it just screams. A lot of those Miramax movies or Dimension movies or whatever, for some reason, they all have that same feel. You know what I'm saying? Like the credit sequence and just the look of the movies. I don't know. I can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but I definitely noticed it through this movie, and it's not a bad thing. It kind of takes you back there, I guess, to that time period.
You'd like to go back there?
Yeah, if only for a day.
It does. I don't know how to explain either, but you're right. Like something about how it was filmed. It's just like Lionsgate movies. It has a particular look and feel to it, and the dialogue and everything is all those movies have very, very much in common. But I mean, I don't know if you really want to go into the plot of Scream, because I'm assuming most people have seen Scream. So I don't know if there's that much of a need, but
no, probably not. I mean, just some interesting stuff about Scream, I guess we can talk about too. And I didn't even realize this. Drew Barrymore was only 21 years old when she shot this movie.
God, I didn't know that either.
So that's she was still, I mean, think about that. She was in E.T. and all that. So you would think that she would have been older, but yeah, she was just 21 at that point. And she did a great job in it. I think the whole cast did a great job in it, playing their characters.
And she was originally supposed to be Sydney too. Like, and this is one question. I don't know if she's ever talked about this, and maybe somebody knows that's even watching this, but I'm curious as to why she turned down that role and took the role that she did. I mean, I don't know if she knew that would be a classic scene or she just didn't want to be in it, or I don't know, for the whole period of shooting. I don't know.
It could have been like a scheduling thing too, because around this time period she was doing other stuff. I think it kind of revived her career a little bit though, right?
It did, yeah.
It got her back more, more in the mainstream. Cast though, like a lot of relatively unknowns at the time. Neve Campbell, she was in was it Party of Five was the show that she was in right around this time? Maybe a year or so before is when it started. Skeet Ulrich. I don't remember seeing him in anything before. Rose McGowan was in this. Was it her debut role?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember these people in anything.
She was in Charmed, but I don't remember if it was before or after this.
I think Charmed would have been like 98, 99. So it would have been after this. I'm thinking this was like her at least mainstream debut. Jamie Kennedy does a great job in this too.
That's probably the last time you'll ever hear that sentence. In this movie.
I loved Kicking It Old School, but it is what it is. Matthew Lillard also in this. Lee Schreiber, who has went on to do a lot of mainstream stuff now, is kind of a bigger name. Henry Winkler is in this. I just noted some names here there was one lady that was in this that I did not recall. Her name is Frances McCain, but she was the mom in Gremlins and Stand By Me. She was Deputy Dewey's and Rose McGowan's mom in this movie.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I was like, that woman looks familiar. And I looked her up. Yep. So
she had a classic role as the mom in Gremlins where she puts him in a microwave and all that.
Yeah. And she relatively this was 12 years after Gremlins or something. She looked the same. So you could definitely tell.
You forgot about the WCW World Champion.
David Arquette. Yeah. Deputy Dewey, who, he does a great job. That character, that's just his portrayal of that character is just dead on. I couldn't imagine anybody else pulling that character off. So there's a lot of good back and forth with him and Rose McGowan. He's like the older brother and all that. And she's kind of calling him a little nerd pussy or whatever in front of his boss. And she don't want, embarrassing him, if you will. So they have a good back and forth there. I think they had good chemistry.
Yeah, that was one thing about the movie you noticed too. Pretty much the whole cast had good chemistry. You had the Skeet Ulrich and the Neve Campbell kind of story, and you had the video store geek thing with a side story with him and Matthew Lillard and all that. I mean, they all worked pretty well off of each other.
Looking at it now, though, in retrospect, they don't they do this a lot in the sequels, but they didn't try to throw you too many red herrings of who it could be and who it couldn't be in this one. So if you're really paying close attention, you can kind of at least guess one of the two people it ends up being for sure. So
I think I may be wrong about this. I don't think I am though. I think even back then, there's a scene in the movie where, and I'm assuming, like I said, everybody's seen this movie, but there's a scene where Skeet Ulrich gets stabbed, and it's supposed to be to rule him out as a suspect. But I think I swear to God, even when I was in high school, I was like, there's something odd about that scene. That is you kind of know that's trying to throw you off.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes back around,
So, but yeah, I mean, you were talking about, as far as the writing, Kevin Williamson, and it's been done to death at this point, like that style. But when that came out, that back and forth, you know, I wouldn't imagine how thick the script would have been in this because all the writing that was in it. I think like the story was with Kevin Williamson is this was a movie that he was working on for a long time, right? And he'd been, you know, shopping it around to a lot of studios.
Yeah, it had a pretty well. Here's the thing about it: he spent a long time writing it, but when it came out, when they started shopping it around, there was an immediate kind of like bidding war. So people that read it knew it was going to be something. It was Weinstein that picked it up because he just outbid everybody back then. Still kind of, well, until recently, still kind of did. And I mean, they had all the pieces and nobody. And you know, it's weird that they got Craven just because you could, I guess, technically argue that that New Nightmare was, you know, a similar kind of concept. You could also argue that what was the movie that was? There's Nothing Out There. You could argue that.
Yeah, that was There's Nothing Out There and New Nightmare was the same year, right? Like 94.
Yeah.
So yeah, New Nightmare. That Wes Craven he wrote New Nightmare, didn't he?
I'm fairly positive he did. Okay.
Yeah, they are pretty similar, really. But
I mean, Craven wrote the majority of his stuff up until this movie, I think.
We got a couple of comments on here real quick. Mention them. John Creasap. I love this movie when it came out. Saw it and slept at my grandma's house that night because I was too scared to sleep at home. Did it scare you, or did you just think it was fun?
I just thought it was fun. Like, I don't remember it scaring me, but I was 16 at the time, so I'd feel pretty bad if I was like, oh shit. Like, because by that point, man, when I was like 7 or 8, I'd seen like Basket Case and fucking, you know, Dawn of the Dead, and you know, those movies that's the shit that scared me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like this is almost like it's a mixture of a slasher and a murder mystery, really. Because the killer, like Ghostface, the look, you know, we'll talk about the look here in a minute, but there's not really a backstory to that character, not like, you know, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, or anything. It's a mystery as to who this is. So that's another aspect of it that was kind of an updated version of you know, but I mean, it's still considered a slasher movie. I was reading actually on.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just reading on IMDb though that this was the highest grossing slasher movie of all time up until Halloween 2018. So just from, you know, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, it made something close to $200 million, like worldwide. I tell you a cool backstory about that. That costume and everything. In the script, it just says like killer in I don't remember if it says like killer in a ghost mask or killer in like a something style mask. So it was actually Craven and the people on the film that created the look, you know, because the script is nondescript about exactly what it looks like. And I think that the original intention was to just have a mask. But I seem like I remember Craven saying something like, if you don't have like the full body thing, then you're going to know who it is. Like, you know, people be running, you know, with a certain body type, you're not going to be able to. So they came up with the cloak and all that other shit.
Well, the mask itself too, and this is interesting too, because I didn't really know a whole lot about this. The mask was a novelty mask that was for sale in stores before the movie was even made. It wasn't made just for the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wrote this down here. It's Fun World Fantastic Faces. You can look on eBay at this shit, right? If you get, I think the one that was used in the movie was from like 1992 or 93 or something like that. Those masks, if you've got one of those from like that era, you're talking about almost $1,000 you can get out of it on eBay. Jesus. And this is these are novelty masks that was for sale in like freaking like Rite Aid, Big Lots, stuff like that back in the day, like cheaply made masks. And I don't know, I didn't never really hear the story of why they chose to just use something like that instead of having a team make their own or whatever. But I always thought that was an interesting, little story about the mask there, and it's still highly sought after because, like I said, I mean, it's kind of like, I guess, the Captain Kirk mask, but some of those are still around. Some of the original Ghostface masks are still around. I think there was that company made 4 or 5 different designs, including the one that was used in the movie. So
there's a lot of similarities between why that worked and why Halloween worked too. You had no idea, like, the motive, really. You had no idea what was behind the masks. You didn't, and both movies kind of like start off immediately into some crazy shit. But in Halloween, you knew who the killer was. You didn't know why, but in this one, it starts off immediately like you have no idea like what the reasons or anything are, or who it is.
Yeah, and this one kind of, like we said, it was another wave of Wes Craven popularity. I think somebody mentioned up here before. I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention. Grande's Graveyard. When you think about it, Wes moved the genre along like 3 separate times, 3 separate decades. Last House on the Left in the 70s, Nightmare on Elm Street in the 80s, and Scream in the 90s. I think he's the only filmmaker of that era that has been able to do that, have a major hit in each of those decades like that.
I think he definitely is. If you look at like the big 4, you look at Carpenter. I don't think Carpenter had anything in the 90s that would approach like that level of success. You look at Tobe Hooper. I don't think he had anything in the 90s that would approach that success. If you look at Romero, no.
Sorry. I know we pissed a lot of people off by really dogging the last, 2 or 3 Romero movies that he made. But come on.
I'm not even talking about the quality of the movies as much as I am the level of success.
Right. There's no denying that at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's right, though. He kind of reinvented the genre 3 different times. And he definitely saved it in the 90s. I'll say that.
Something else, too, that we need to mention about Scream before we go on to any of the sequels is the voice of Ghostface, which they kind of explain it. And I'll demonstrate here for you here in a second. The reason all the killers sound the same is he's using a voice changer, right? But the voice of Ghostface is this guy named Roger Jackson, who does amazing job in this movie. Very creepy. The way that he says, he'll say, "I'll gut you like a fucking fish if you hang up on me."
Yeah.
And they get back in and look. It's like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, the explanation at the end of the movie when, it's unveiled who the killers are, they have, and I found this, Uncle Bill. I was like, I've got one of these. Where the hell is it? It is an old school telephone voice changer. And I found a battery for it, and it still kind of works. But man, it doesn't sound creepy. I'll demonstrate it for you here. What's your favorite scary movie, Uncle Bill? I want to know. Oh, yeah. Do I sound frightening? I'll cut you like a fucking pig, motherfucker.
It basically just sounds like you with a horrible, like, robot, like, thing.
Hey. Hello. My name's Ghostface. You'll never guess who I am.
That'd be so awesome if that was the voice.
Uncle B, What's your favorite Sonny Landon movie?
Big Apple. Oh, God.
So yeah, these little devices sold like crazy after this movie came out. This one right here is probably from around that era, from when that movie came. I mean, I've had it forever.
Yeah, I remember you having that forever. Is the weird thing.
And the sad thing is, you really can't use it now because everybody's got a cell phone. So they don't work on cell phones. I guess the gimmick is, like, you see the other side of it. You just put it up against an old school phone and just talk into it. So I had a lot of fun with this thing back in the day.
But I got to agree, though, to say that, like, other than Drew Barrymore, probably the best decision that they made in this movie was to hire that guy to do the voice, because that's like the most memorable thing. Kane.
It's gotta be Kane.
God damn, that's old school right there.
Grande's Graveyard. Sonny Landon versus Ass versus Ghostface. Book it, Vince. That would be good. It'd probably be better than what they're going to do for WrestleMania this year.
So, okay, what are your pros and cons? Because I've got some things that stand out now, but I mean, like, what do you think they did that still holds up today, and what do you think doesn't?
Well, I think it all kind of holds up still. I mean, the vibe of the movie, like I said, it's very 90s, so it's kind of dated, but to me, that gives it some charm. The cast, I think the cast are perfect. I wouldn't have changed anybody in that cast at all. If there was one way, I mean, if you could have given the killer or some aspect of the killer a backstory, like whenever Sydney's mother is murdered, like the killer's already known as the Ghostface Killer or something like that. Maybe give it a little bit more of a backstory than what it had. That would be the only thing. But I mean, hell, that's almost nitpicking. What about you?
There's only one thing about this movie that always took me out of the movie. And I know I can't be the only one that thinks this, but towards the end, when like you find out who the killers are and everything, the performance by Matthew Lillard, he just goes so far over the top, and when he's screaming shit like, "I'm getting a little woozy here, man," and all that shit, I'm just like, that is just way like overacting.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. That is kind of over top performance.
It just doesn't fit anywhere in the movie. Like, it comes out of nowhere. He starts doing that shit. I guess it was supposed to be funny. I'm assuming that was.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, though, after you got stabbed 2 or 3 times, you would not be. I mean, you'd be pissed off more than anything. I wouldn't be acting like a fucking goofball. That'd just be me.
That's my only criticism of the movie, really. I think everything else is amazing.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I love the video store scene too, and I was watching that today. Even though it looks like a fucking Blockbuster, which I was never a big fan of Blockbuster videos, which good buddy of ours, Scab Boy, was posting about this, and this is true too. 90s kids get nostalgic for Blockbuster. 80s kids still fucking hate Blockbuster, and that's true because it knocked the New World Video and the Jenny Wiley videos out of business. So
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad Blockbuster's gone.
But you ain't lived till you've been in a single wide trailer that's been converted into a New World Video.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that was the real shit, because video stores back in, the mom and pop days, you'd see make them die slowly in the damn video store. You'd never see that in a Blockbuster.
No, they had so much shit like that was crazy.
But I did kind of like seeing the video store, the scene with Jamie Kennedy and Matthew Lillard there.
It's a great scene. Yeah, I mean, people forget too how brutal the opening scene of that movie was, but that's another great scene.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I mean, there had to be a sequel. You knew there was going to be a sequel. And I think by that point, so what year did Scream 2 come out?
Scream 2 came out less than a year later. It was December 12th of 97.
So I'm trying to think of it. I mean, that's pretty fucking quick.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that one in the theater?
I did. I saw that one. That was one of the early movies that I saw at the Riverfield 10 in Pikeville. I remember this not vividly because Timmy, one of her buddies, I went to see it with him. He was big into horror movies around this time period. And he had just got his driver's license. And we had went to the brand new Walmart Supercenter right after the show. And he locked his keys in his fucking car. And we were wandering around forever. He didn't want to call his dad or anything because he locked his keys in his car before and was scared his dad would, smack him or something. I don't know. But yeah, I always remember that. But yeah, we did see that one theatrically, and it was a packed theater too. I remember that.
So here's what I'm going to say too. Like, I think that the opening scene of that movie, I won't say it's as good as the first one because I don't think it is, but it's up there, man. Like in terms of openings to horror films, like it's got to be up there. Like they really went out of their way to try to make something as memorable as the first one.
I guess the opening scene in this one is the movie that's made about the events that happened in the first Scream, which it's Stab. And it's Will Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett at the time. I don't think she was affiliated with the Fresh Prince at that point. And Omar Epps were, I guess, the stars of this opening part or whatever. And it kind of kickstarts the whole Stab sub movie within a movie series of, just whatever. It is what it is. We'll continue to talk about the Stab franchise as the show goes on. But I think it was a great opening. I mean, it was a great sequel to me. I think it's the only one that I think is universally praised. The only sequel to Scream movies that seems to be loved. It was pretty good at least.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing this in the theater, and I thought that opening was amazing, and I also thought the ending, like I totally 100% didn't see that coming, and I don't really know how you fucking could. Like, if you guessed who the killer was, or killers in this case, in the end of this one, then you're a fucking genius because
you're just Ola Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's all I'm
saying. In this one, if you remember, she goes to college.
Oh, it's like Uncle Bill goes to college.
This is Sydney goes to college, and she meets Jerry O'Connell for some fucking reason, the kid from Stand By Me, who, by the way, is my least favorite part of this movie. Like, I don't know why, but he's another one that's like completely out of place in the movie. I can't tell you what it is that I hate about him or that character, but it's just hard to watch the scenes with him and her and the fraternity and all that shit. And I'm just like, that's the only thing
he sings to her or something like that. That's just really, really, I just can't imagine, like, I don't know. I was like, who booked this shit basically?
Yeah. It's such like, I remember like marking out for that scene when I first saw it for some reason. I don't know why, but
you thought he was being romantic.
I thought it was an awesome scene. And then I went, you go back and watch it and you're like, my God, man, that is fucking horrible. And just completely like, I don't know, changes the tone of everything. Like, I don't know, just a bad scene.
Interesting cast though. I did write all these people down. Timothy Oliphant, who went on, he's done all kinds of shit. Sarah Michelle Gellar is in this. One of your favorites, I know, even though you used to hide all of your Buffy the Vampire Slayer seasons back in the day.
I love Buffy.
Rebecca Gayheart, who is a fellow creepy Kentuckian who's out of the business now. I don't believe she's doing anything anymore. Laurie Metcalf from Roseanne is in this.
I love that fact too.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's just the greatest casting choice.
So yeah. And also, like, I thought this was kind of interesting too to think about. You had this same year, 1997, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which Sarah Michelle Gellar was in, and Urban Legend, which Rebecca Gayheart was in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I was trying to think of. Is like, I know that all the copies started right after Scream, but I was trying to think, was there anything that came between Scream and Scream 2 that was like one of the clones? I guess they did.
I think I'm just going by memory here. Somebody can look this up and let us know for sure. I Know What You Did Last Summer, I'm almost positive was released in the summer of 97. And then Urban Legend was probably early fall. I know. Well, you got to think this was December of 97. So odds are both of those came out before, Scream 2. But yeah, those were the first two of the copycat Scream movies, which, Scream kind of saved the genre. And then there for a year or two, it almost kind of killed it as well, because there were, Jesus Christ, there's so many of these, copycat movies for years, really, for 4 or 5 years after the first movie came out.
Yeah, none of them were anywhere near, anywhere near the level of kind of like creativity or direction that Scream had. And not really, or even really Scream 2, come to think of it, but
no, I mean, those two in particular weren't horrible or anything, but then you would get stuff, like Soul Survivor was another one that came out around that time. I don't know. There's plenty of it. Do you want to know a secret?
Hey! Come on, come close. You want to know a secret?
Valentine is another one that came out. Like, I know a lot of people are jacking off to that movie now, Valentine, and I'm going to rewatch it at some point. But I remember it being a piece of shit the first time I saw it.
I don't know who the fuck's jacking off that movie, but it ain't
a lot of people are talking about it online.
It ain't no count. I'm gonna tell you.
And I remember, I am very forgiving when it comes to slasher movies, right? I like fucking Home Sweet Home. I have enjoyment out of that movie. And when I think a slasher movie sucks, it sucks. So, but I'm gonna try it one more time.
I'll tell you two words that will actually 4 words that will make you understand why it sucks as much as it does. Katherine Heigl and David Boreanaz.
He's got a bloody nose, by God, it's him.
It's a great gimmick. It's a shame that they couldn't execute the movie.
The guy that did Urban Legends, the same guy that did Valentine. So he ripped off Scream a couple of times.
Yeah, he kind of made a career out of that. He fucking parked a cottage right in the Scream franchise.
You know what else too, Uncle Bill?
What?
He's Australian. Whoa!
Yay!
Okay, so yeah, you were talking about Scream 2, though. This time Sydney's going to college and she's got new friends for Ghostface to kill. That's basically it.
Yeah, and there is here's where I get confused with the Sydney timelines. Is it this one or the third one where she starts to have like visions about her mom coming back?
I think that's the third one.
All right, because I was going to say that's creepy as fuck. That is actually one redeeming quality of the third movie. But other than her being in college, being with Jerry O'Connell, and people ending up dying like on the college campus as they're trying to get to her. That's about what I remember about this movie. It's got a good scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar. That's a cool scene where she's like a sorority sister that gets killed. And then the ending.
I can remember the first time I saw the movie, though, when it ends up being, what was his name in this? Mickey was Oliphant's character in this.
Right.
When he was unveiled as the killer, I'm like, who the hell is that? Because he's not even on screen. There's a long period of time there where he's not even seen at all through probably almost way more than half of the movie. He's not even in the background or anything.
That's true. And it's kind of a letdown until the second unveiling, which is that it's, what was her name in Roseanne? Please tell me. God.
Oh, God.
Oh, shit.
Vicky? No, it ain't Vicky. It's something like that.
I wish it was Vicky.
Hey, Vicky.
Oh, God, what the fuck was her name?
Somebody knows what her name is in Roseanne.
Anyway.
Let us know.
Anyway, Roseanne's sister was Billy Loomis's mother, and that's the big reveal. Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Well, we didn't even mention this, too. I guess the reasoning that Billy had to come after Sydney and her mother before is like didn't his dad cheat on with Sydney's mom or something like that?
That was the plot point. Yeah,
Jackie. It's even better. How do we forget that?
That's true.
Damn, Aunt Jackie.
But this scene at the end, though, here's one of my only complaints about this movie, other than Timothy Olyphantastic doing the exact same thing that Matthew Lillard did at the end too. The only other complaint was at the end of the movie when the unveil happens, and there's a 20-minute long sequence where they're holding her at gunpoint and she's running around, and then Gail Weathers gets shot, and then she literally runs from one side to the other side while she's got a gun on her, like she's going to escape, and then she finally escapes and starts the way that she takes her out is she chops the stage, all the props and shit start falling on her, and that's I don't know, I don't think I would have gone with that. It's just a little bit too.
Wasn't didn't they have Jerry O'Connell? He was tied up, and it was it was very theatric or whatever.
Yeah, but he does get shot, so that is one good thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, overall, Scream 2, I think, wasn't cell phones the big they did a lot of stuff with cell phones in part 2 as well. It become more a thing than in the first movie.
Yeah, it was more mainstream, I guess.
Yeah, but Scream 2, I always liked it. Of the sequels, I think it is the best, by far the best sequel. There's nothing close to it, really.
No, because we're going to get into the two. Oh, God. And
yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I can watch Scream 3. Probably less so than, any of the other two, but
The thing about the other two movies, and we're going to talk about both of them, but they are unneeded, both of them. There's not really a point. And Sydney herself, there's not really a point. She should have been killed off in this. The best thing that I could talk about in Scream 3, though, is it is the Creed scream. The one where Creed is featured throughout the movie. I think they're in that one song, "What If I," is that's the opening scene where they I think Liev Schreiber's character, Cotton and his wife get killed, and it's it's kind of a weird song to be playing in the background, but it is kind of a hard, fast. It was probably one of the more rockin' Creed songs, but all I can remember about it is he just throughout the whole movie or throughout the whole song, he's like, "Walled out, walled out, walled out, walled out, yeah."
And then at the end, I think it's isn't it My Own Prison? They play at the end.
What's
of it.
This Life For? I think.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What is life? Oh, yeah.
That is for hooray for the kid that lives on, or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. That should be the lyrics. Man, whoever
and I think Hire is in this as well, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking. Like whoever made this movie must have been like the biggest Creed mark of all time. Every one of them, every song on there.
Wes Craven's like, well, I think those kids like that shitty Creed music. Let's just get as much of it as we can. Because he wasn't fucking listening to Creed.
No. Okay, so this one opens up with Cotton Weary, and like he's riding home, and then Ghostface calls him. He's got to get back to save his girlfriend. Goes back, and then he gets taken out at the beginning of the movie. By far, of those three, the least memorable of the openings.
Aside from the Creed music. That's obviously memorable. From that.
It's definitely memorable, yeah.
And Sydney in this one is a recluse. She's living up with her dog on a ranch somewhere, working as like a crisis hotline person or something, just working on the phone or whatever, hiding out from everybody. And I guess the other thing with this one is most of it's based around the shooting of Stab 3 and the casting. Like, isn't it Lance Hendrickson? He's the guy over the studio. Lance Hendrickson's in this, which is weird. That
is a weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the Roger Corman of which Roger Corman's in this movie too. I don't know if you noticed that. There's
I think he's real briefly in it, right?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of a nod to him, that particular character.
This one too, this movie has a lot more comedy in it, it seems like. And I was doing a little bit of research on this shit. And evidently, like, they had changed the tone quite a bit, because just a few months before they started filming this movie is when the Columbine shooting took place.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, I think that changed a lot of aspects, the tone of Scream 3. So there was a lot more comedic elements added into it.
Well, that makes sense. And I can't really put my finger on why this is like this is not as good as the first three, because it has all the tropes, I guess, of the Scream franchise. But for some reason it just doesn't work as well. Maybe it's the cast, like especially when they get into because they really get more into the Stab movie in this one. It's basically it's the centerpiece of the whole thing.
Yeah, a lot of it's pretty much all on the set too. Like a lot of the stuff that happens is on the set.
And I think maybe that's why it doesn't work, because that's the focus instead of the main characters that were the focus of the other two. Like in this one, the main characters, I guess, are more like the actors in the Stab movie, the director, and I think Dewey.
Yeah, he's like he's a technical advisor or something like that on it, because they had to have somebody that was actually there during the events. And what I can't figure out is what happened on Stab 2, right? So why are they still in Sydney's bedroom and shit for Stab 3? That makes no sense.
That's true.
Not that whatever. But this one too, I'll tell you something else is funny about this one. I was thinking back at. So this was this was filmed in 1999, or at least early 2000. It came out in when did this come out? Okay, it came out in February of 2000. So it was shot in 99 primarily. The killer had this little machine that would take on other people's voices. Do you remember that? They changed that up a little bit.
Yeah.
21 years later, we still don't have that technology.
No.
But they had that killer got it somehow. I don't know.
It was great though, because I guess that was just a way to move the plot along to where it wasn't just that one voice. You can imitate anybody. But You're right though, that doesn't exist. It never has.
How would you program something like that?
I don't know. You couldn't. But I tell you another fucking odd choice was the kid from Can't Buy Me Love was the was the love interest.
Yeah, Patrick Dempsey. Yeah. The star of Meatballs 3.
Yeah.
Jenny McCarthy's also in this, and she's looking fucking fine in this movie. This was like when Jenny McCarthy was the shiz it. Parker Posey, yeah. Holy shit. Let me get to Parker Posey real quick here. Somebody said Parker Posey was the worst character in the whole series. I can't find it though.
She's pretty fucking bad, yeah.
Evil Brad. Yeah, she's kind of annoying for sure.
She is. Like her thing was she was trying to be Gail. Like she was the role of Gail Weathers in the Stab movie, and she was like that in real life, but she just comes off as really unlikable in that movie.
Anthony Luzzy, appreciate the super chat for $50, Uncle Bill.
Damn, boy. Shit.
Big money roller. He said Scream was one of the first horror films I got into back when my mom let me buy the Scream 1 VHS at Walmart in 2000. Keep up the great retrospectives. Yeah, I think Scream was one of those movies too when it came out on, like there were only the most mainstream movies would come out on video to purchase it at Walmart around this time period too. And Scream was one of those for sure. I mean, usually it would be like Jurassic Park movies, Indiana Jones, stuff like that. But Scream was so popular that it was one of those movies that was available to purchase pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, this is the one of the Scream movies that I remember being everywhere. Like Scream 3, like I can still see the covers and all that shit. And like it was out everywhere. Like mass produced out the ass.
Yeah.
But okay, so ending of the movie, we've talked about all the other endings of the movie. And in this one, this is this is where it really is really, really horrible. So the guy that's the end of the movie kind of turns into kind of a murder mystery. Like everybody gets invited to the house and the killer is going to reveal himself and all this shit and yada, yada, yada. And ends up being the fucking director who is the illegitimate love child of Maureen Prescott, Cindy's mother. And he's pissed off because she loved her and didn't love him. And he's going to fucking kill the world.
Yeah. I almost thought it was Sydney's second cousin, but when she said, I heard it was the half brother, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And this is the one too that, Grande says he loves the finale at the mansion. Yeah. This was at like I do remember the mansion kind of, but yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think that me and you actually watched this in the theater together. When it came out, I think it was at like Riverfield in Pikeville.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember. I've seen all these movies in the theater. I do know that. Except, didn't we go see Scream 4? We did, didn't we?
We did. There's a dead pit on the road for Scream 4.
So that shows you how much that movie meant to me.
Yeah. But, what I was going to do is I honestly thought about doing this instead of watching Scream 4 again. I was like, why don't I just watch the on the road review for Scream 4 and take notes on that, because I don't know if I want to, but I honestly, Scream 4, we'll get to that next. I didn't remember one thing about Scream 4. The only thing that I recalled is that Hayden Panettiere was in it, or Penetretta, or whatever the hell her name is.
It's like that movie.
Kind of her being in it.
The best way I can describe that movie to you, though, is like if somebody sprayed it with Pam, and I keep trying to like get it to stick in my head, and it just keeps sliding out. Like I've probably seen that. I tried to watch it like 3 or 4 times, like within the last couple of months. I cannot keep it in my mind. Like it just, nothing about it is memorable, and it's we'll get into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Scream 4, 2011. So this is 10 years ago. And funny thing about this one, too, we were sent this to review back in the day, and it had never been opened until just like 2 days ago. Right? So I wanted to showcase that. And even if I look on the cover of this, I'm like, huh. I really had no memory of this at all. It's like those Silent Night, Deadly Night sequels, like Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 and 5. You can watch them, and then like the next day, it's just erased from your memory as to what exactly was going on.
Yeah, I mean that's exact. And it doesn't matter how many times I fucking watch it either. Like I just. So here to.
Hey, but I wanted to mention though real quick here before we get into the movie. This was around the time frame when the Blu-ray and DVD studios would force you to watch these trailers that they had out for shit. Even if you bought the damn movie, which I didn't buy it, but I mean they don't know that. So I just wrote the movies down here. This is interesting. This is around the time when they were doing Dimension Extreme, right?
Oh God, yeah. That's what Inside came out of, though. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of good movies that came out of it, but most of them were like Zombie Diaries 2 and Children of the Corn Genesis. I had to watch those trailers, and they had the Scream 4 mobile video game at that point in time too.
Oh God.
I just thought that was kind of fun. Some of those movies, like they all like that Zombies Diaries 2 or whatever it was, that looked like something that would have been, we would have reviewed from like Illumination Filmworks or something like that back in the day. Cheap.
Jesus, dude. Yeah, I can kind of remember going to the theater and watching this and being really, really hopeful and thinking it was going to be amazing. And it all fucking falls apart in the first like 10 minutes. So the first 10 minutes of this movie is like literally 5 different openings where you're not sure like which one is the opening. Mm-hmm. That starts out with like, I think like different people in it include fucking, oh God, the chick from True Blood. What the hell's her name? Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
Is one of them in it, and then there's like some.
There was one that I recognized that. Of course, this is a lot of these movies that Sarah likes to watch. She was in. I think she was in the Stab 7. Like it was one of those deals where it was like a double. The first scene is a couple getting killed from Stab 6, and then there's another couple that gets killed in Stab 7, and then there's another couple, and then you're like, oh, is this Stab 8 or whatever? But it eventually goes into the actual movie.
Yeah, it's awful. Like it just,
yeah,
it's so I don't know why, but it's just so gimmicky, and
it's stupid. It fucking sucks. Like,
yeah,
Sydney is a fucking author. Yay! Why would we care?
Yay! Yeah,
like. The Sydney character needed to die in like Scream 2, at least the beginning of Scream 3. And they need to move on from that shit because Sydney, that character has not been interesting since Scream 2.
No, they don't want to move on, but they want to follow her some more. She's writing a book, and
Neve Campbell's got Skyscraper 2 to do. She ain't gonna fool the screen much longer. She's getting some of that rock money.
I just remember there's a scene in the beginning too where she's at like a book signing and they find a body or something in her car or something like that. Or what?
Yeah, she has a rental car, and I guess it's the blood from the last set that were killed from earlier or whatever.
And then you kind of move to where she knows she's back being, chased again. So she takes up with her, what is it, her fucking aunt? Or I can't remember. Like it's her aunt or her cousin.
That Marine woman, whatever her name is. I don't know if it's her name. What the fuck? It's her aunt, the older woman. And then the Emma Roberts
is her cousin, right?
Is her cousin.
Yeah.
Did you know that Emma Roberts is Julia Roberts' niece and Eric Roberts' daughter? Did you know that?
I did know that.
That's some trivia for you.
Did you know that we were walking through a convention one time at Scarefest and Eric Roberts was there? And this is when Tiny was like 1 year old, and he came over there and grabbed her and like started playing with her and shit. He's like,
I remember that picture. Yeah, I remember y'all took a picture of it.
So that guy's awesome. He was in Best of the Best too. So
he was, and he was the Coca-Cola kid. Who could forget that?
But anyway, there's you're right though. Like there's some pretty big stars for the time in this. Mm-hmm. You had Emma Roberts, you had Hayden Panton to whatever Airy.
Hayden Penetrator. That's what we could call him.
That's right.
That'd be a good way to say it.
And in this one, like they kind of go back to the whole like nerd thing because there's like an AV group of kids that are really into like the stab movies and they're showing them and like they're having a film fest and all this. And pretty much everybody in the film is like a horror nerd. And that's like the separate cast from the main cast, which is, Sydney and Dewey and all the rest of them. Which
one of the Culkins is in this, and I didn't remember this either. He was one of the nerds.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's Macaulay's youngest brother. I mean, Roy
Culkin.
Yeah. I didn't remember that at all. I was like, I have no recollection of a Culkin being in Scream 4. Anthony Anderson's in this too. I did not remember him in it. He was one of the sheriffs.
Yeah.
Or the deputies or whatever. Who else is in this? I don't remember anybody else in this of any note, I don't think. They have a part. Have you noticed this is all the Scream movies too? They have parties in it, and there's always some sort of shit that happens at the party, and there's no exception in this movie. They have like it's a stab marathon, a stabathon, where they're watching Stab 1 through 7 or whatever it is.
Yeah, and in this one, they really take advantage of technology because they put little like webcams up to try to catch the killer and all this shit. And
one of the nerd guys has like a headset that has a camera on it, and he's like broadcasting all day long, which I'm pretty sure in 2020 you probably couldn't even pull that off.
No, but he does though. And
he does in 2011, bulls.
Yeah. And it's basically the same kind of shit. Like, people get killed, the family members end up getting killed off, and yada yada yada. And you're trying to figure out. It's kind of a whodunit mystery, and I don't know why, but the middle part of this movie is the most tedious for me to watch of any of them. Like, you don't like any of the characters, the newer characters. You're not at all interested in the plot because it really doesn't have a plot. It really doesn't have anything interesting that happens in the middle part of the movie. And then you get to the end, and the beginning sucks ass. The middle part's completely forgettable. And then you get to the end, and you tell me what you think about the end. I have some strong beliefs about the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that the ending would. Okay, so everybody's seen this, so there's no point in fucking. I mean, this movie is 10 years old. If you haven't watched it now, I'm sorry. We're going to spoil it for you. But it ends up being the Jill character, her cousin, is the mastermind behind it all. Because she wants to be famous. She's sick of Sydney taking all the, the glory from the family. She wants to be the heroine now and all this bullshit. So she thinks she's killed everybody. And then she just starts diving through these tables and running into mirrors and all this shit for what seems like forever. Right? So she can say that, who was she going to frame, the boyfriend or whatever?
I think so. The Culkin.
Her boyfriend, who has like the charisma of a fucking piece of toast in this movie too, by the way. I don't know where the hell they found him. He was terrible. But anyway, like they were kind of hinting that he was the killer throughout the movie anyway, trying to throw you off track. And then it was kind of like a restart. It's in the hospital now. And she finds out that Sydney is still alive. And then it just goes from there. And it's like,
it's
bad.
I couldn't tell you why, but I hate movies that do that. To where like, you think that there's an ending here and then it goes someplace else and they try to have an ending. And then actually there's like 3 endings in this fucking movie, And I tell you a perfect example of another movie that did this was the Black Christmas remake. The first one. There's actually 2 fucking Black Christmas remakes, by the way.
And they're both terrible.
They're both. I tried to watch the newest one and I couldn't get it like past 30 minutes. But the first Black Christmas remake does the same type of shit where you think it's over in one spot and then they move it to another spot and it goes on for like 20 more minutes. And it's just like, I guess that they were trying to do like in his mind, Craven's mind, he was trying to do like the most epic kind of beginning and end of the Scream movie. But what it comes off as is just like you're sitting there praying for both of them to be over with, like for the beginning sequence and the end sequence. It's just so bad and so dull. It's so kind of lifeless and contrived. And
yeah, I mean, you would think like it was a good, 11 years after the third movie that they would have come up, if it had taken this long, right? But what was interesting about this too, though, you got to think about this time period in 2011, everything was getting remade. So how many sequels were actually coming out around this time? It was kind of odd that they chose to go that route instead of just doing a remake.
In 2011, that's true. Because that was the height of like when they were really remaking the piss out of everything.
Yeah. I mean, as far as sequels go, I don't recall. I know that Rob Zombie had Halloween 2 a couple of years prior to that, but I can't really think of anything else. It's kind of interesting they chose to go that route. It's a terrible movie though. Like a lot of people say that Scream 4 is better than Scream 3. I really don't think so. I mean, they're both bad, but I think Scream 4 is far and away the worst of all the Scream movies. There's nothing even, I don't think it's even close.
I completely agree. I think it's the worst of the series, but I think it's that way because it tries so hard to be like, to be the end all be all Scream film. And it just like, you didn't really need to do that. Like it didn't need to take it so far to where you're just like, this is fucking stupid. And it really is the dumbest of the Scream films. And I actually like Emma Roberts when she, is the villain. I think that's a pretty good performance, really. But it's just so fucking stupid. Like the script that they gave her, the stuff that she says and the ending setup of the movie and how it panders to the audience. That's what it is. That's why I hate it so much. Like it panders so much to the Scream audience that it comes across as you're just like, it's fucking bullshit. Like they're trying to make everything that you like about the Scream movies happen in one movie, and like not just one time, but like multiple times.
The only character throughout the movie, honestly, that I thought kind of worked and was likable was Hayden Penetrator.
Yeah. She is
I mean,
actually.
I kind of liked her. But Sydney, that character, and we mentioned it before, that character's done, man. I mean, what else can you do? Like, I didn't give a shit. Like, oh, she's an author. Who the hell come up with that? Seriously, I wrote a book.
In the next,
I'm coming back to my hometown.
In the next one, it'll be like, she's a lawyer. She went to law school. She's a fucking lawyer now. No, she's a doctor. And like
I represent victims in murder cases now. My name's Sidney Prescott.
Every single film, she have a new profession. I'm a fucking attorney now. And Scream like 6.
Sidney Prescott, attorney at law.
And Scream 6, it'll be like, I'm a construction worker. I build houses.
I'm a custodial person now. I'm going to clean up your shit.
I'm hiding in this fucking basement of this school.
My life is with the shit, so I'm going to clean up your shit.
God. It's
Horror Man says that I don't know if this works for me. Scream 4 gets better with views for me. I like it more each time I watch it. It is a bit over the top in some aspects, but it's a fun watch.
I swear to God, man, it like I said, the more times I watch it, the less I remember about it. It's like it's working in reverse.
Yeah, I mean, like luckily I took notes on this because I probably would have forgot a lot of what I did see. Any other aspects that you liked of it? I mean,
okay, I liked Kirby, which how many females do you know are named Kirby, by the way? But I liked Hayden Panettiere. I liked Emma Roberts when she goes rogue.
Did you like her when she started slamming herself on tables and busting her head open and stuff like that?
Where she does the Ash from Evil Dead 2. Yeah. But I don't know, man. That's about it, really. Seriously, like, I can't think about much more to like about this movie. Like, the other characters don't have anything to do, and they're just kind of wandering around and getting, some screen time. Oh, fuck, and I forgot about the worst part about this movie, actually. Deputy Judy. Now, if that's not
like her, Marley Shelton,
if that's not the most throwaway, ridiculous character,
yeah, there wasn't really a point for her to even be in it. She's coming back, evidently. She's going to be in Scream. Well, Scream 5 is just called Scream, so they're going that route. They're not doing I was hoping they'd call it Scream 5: A New Beginning, but that's not going to happen. It's just Scream now.
I think the only reason for that character would have to have been to have like a modern Dewey. Like, even though he's in it, like, she's like the female.
He needed a deputy because he's sheriff in this one, right?
But it's just another one of those things. It's just like pandering to and it's nowhere near as good as the first films.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't a point to do Scream 4. The only reason they did it was because horror was at a boom at that point, and they felt like they could. I think this one did really shitty at the box office, if I'm not mistaken. It really didn't do that well at all. I think it was the least successful of all the Scream movies. And that's kind of surprising considering it was a 11-year hiatus between the movies, and you would think that some of the people would be like, oh, there's a new Scream movie, man, let's go see it. But I think nobody really cared.
No, it's instantly kind of forgettable too. Did you like anything about it though?
I mean, I liked Hayden. I liked Hayden in it. She did a good job. She was the best actor in it. I mean, you could tell she did the most with what she could with that character. I mean, I like the fact that they did reference some, Suspiria and some other classic horror movies through it, and threw something out there for the hardcore horror fans. But yeah, it just didn't. Honestly, though, if you really look at it, like the vibe from the original Scream movie was never replicated. Like they couldn't do it. I don't know. I think the music was part of it too. Like it seems like that.
That's another thing I hated about Scream 4.
Yeah.
That's the only Scream movie that didn't have Red Right Hand in it. You know, the theme song, basically.
Mm-hmm.
First three.
Well, it's a different studio, right? I don't know if it's a different studio, but it was still the Weinsteins at this point. Anchor Bay come out with this Blu-ray. Maybe that's where I was getting confused.
Yeah,
I wonder why they chose not to do that. So
I don't know, because that's literally like one of the biggest parts of the movie. So it's odd to me that it just doesn't exist in that.
Evidently, though, they have already filmed the new Scream movie, Scream. What do you think that they could do, if anything, to make this movie interesting? I mean, they've got some of the original cast. Courtney Cox is back. David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Marley Shelton's coming back. And they've got like a new group of teenagers or high schoolers or maybe college kids coming in there. What would be if you could write just a basic plot to what would make it interesting? Hit me with it. What would you do?
Well, there's a couple different routes that they could go, and there's like a discussion too that one, if not a couple of the main cast will be killed, which at this point they about have to be, right? Because they can't keep doing it. Like, I guess they can, because really none of them are doing anything else if you think about it. But it just doesn't make sense to have them keep. Like, there has to be something big that happens. Like, there has to be a big moment in the film. But one of the biggest theories that I heard that I think would be fucking hilarious is if it ends up that, like, Sydney finally goes crazy and, like, it turns out that she's the actual killer she goes through the PTSD thing and ends up, taking over, and then you find out that she's the killer, and then they have to actually kill her. That, to me, might be one of the only things that would make this interesting. It's got to be a big swerve. Like, they've done almost everything you can do in terms of, like, who the killers can be and things like that. It's got to be something big.
Well, I would think that they would kill Sydney off in the first scene. That's what I would do.
That's another kind of like theory that's going around too.
Yeah, I would okay. And that's the only thing that kind of makes sense if you've got a new cast, new teenagers or whatever else. They should have done it a long time ago anyway. So just think of something creative out of nowhere that she's taken out and the killer is going after new blood, if you will. Something, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, the only character left that they really haven't used for something like that it turns out that, like, her dad goes crazy or something.
And they haven't focused anything on her dad.
Yeah.
Like, he was in the first movie and that was it, right? Was he in any of the other sequels?
I think he was, but I can't remember which one. But I think he either he's in the third one. Remember, because he shows up and he's like, you're like a ghost now and all this stuff. Like, it's like you don't even exist. Blah, 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 blah. Because she's hiding out and everything. So, yeah, bring him back. Have him be the killer. He's just like, I've had it with this shit. I'm going to kill everybody.
So, they're not doing Scream. It'll be end up being a 11-year hiatus in between Scream 4 and 5. So that one, I think that one's coming out January next year. Scream 5 or Scream. They could have just called it Screams and have the S kind of look like a 5 too. That'd work. That
would have been a good idea, yeah.
But
I don't know though. Every reboot that I've seen, with the exception of like maybe one or two, has been god awful. So I don't have high hopes, to be honest.
Evil Brad, I'm just going through some stuff here I want to mention because I haven't really looked at the comments that much. He thinks that Jason Goes to Hell killed horror and Scream revived it. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's possible. That's a good theory. Because Jason Goes to Hell came out what year?
93?
No, I think it was dead by then, man. I think. Let's see. What can you think of that came out in like 91?
Yeah, I mean, there was like Freddy's Dead. That was one that was awful. That was 91, I think.
It was a series of like all the big franchise movies had horrible films around that time, if you think about it. Halloween 5 and fucking Freddy's Dead, Jason Goes to Hell, like all of them. They just culminated with the shittiest like sequels.
Yeah, I just think like the slasher boom of the late 80s kind of killed horror out, if you ask me. Like, I don't know if it's one movie in particular. In the late 80s, there was just so much of the exact same movie coming out that it was just overkill. And then when these movies started not being as successful, like for instance, Friday the 13th Part 8 was the last one that Paramount did because it wasn't as successful as the one before that. And they just kept going, getting worse and worse. But that was just overkill, man. It was too much of the same thing, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just all of it. Like it just all collided together, like all those movies and franchises, and people just got sick of it. And the films were awful at that time.
Do you think it could be true that Stu is still alive and maybe the killer in Part 5?
I saw that too, where they actually like bring him, or they had like screenshots of him being in the movie. It's possible.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Geek Room Life. I think I'm the only person that mildly likes My Soul to Take. That's probably true.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah. I don't think I would ever watch that movie again. I just remember when we were in the theaters watching it, and I was like looking at you. I'm like, is this? They made this.
It was that bad, yeah.
It was bad. Let's see here.
It's like saying I'm a big fan of Mortuary. I love it. Shit, it's great.
Y'all going to talk about the MTV series too? No, I've never watched one episode of the. I think I've got a couple episodes on Vudu, but I've never watched it. So
that'll be the next show.
They use a different mask in that too, right? It's not the same.
No, it's not the same. We need to do that though. We'll watch every single episode of that show and then review it.
Review each episode separately. Yeah. God, I think I'd want to kill myself after that. Let's see here. Somebody has a long post here. The trick to what Scream 5 will be about is figuring out what the biggest movie trope from the past 10 years is. So we know that Scream 4 is all about reboots. And in the time since the movies, we've had Halloween 2018, which, storytelling device to wipe out all the stuff that we knew from the previous sequels. Yeah, I mean, I think what he's saying is here, I don't think we can fit all this shit on one page, but go back to the original movie, forget the sequels.
That is the in vogue thing to do right now. So he could be right. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're just calling it Scream. So that's kind of what Halloween did. It's definitely possible. Let's see here if there's anything else I missed. And we appreciate everybody coming out. Is there any other questions or anything? Anybody throw them at us? And we will go on about them. Damn, there's a lot of comments on here. Aiden, he said that he really liked the Scream 3 soundtrack. He's a big Creed fan, evidently.
It's a great.
He likes What If. It's his favorite track. Hey,
Great
as far
song.
as Creed songs, I mean, that is like that's heavy for Creed. I'll give him that. You know, the riffs and stuff. Whoa, yeah. Here's another one from Aiden. Unpopular opinion: Scream 4 is his favorite sequel. I don't really.
I mean, yeah, everybody.
Are you just messing with me?
Everybody.
Evil Brad didn't like Hayden Penetrator's hair. I kind of liked it.
I think it was a good look. It was.
Born to be Rad is admiring your Texas Chainsaw Massacre video poster, the media one.
It's over here somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good one. You know, there's one that's one of my on about posters that's similar to that, but it features other, like, it's really rare. I don't know if I've ever seen it for sale. I've seen a picture of it online. Other characters from other movies that media was bringing out, and it's similar to that style. So it's got Leatherface in it, but it also has, I think it's got like the Killer Santa Claus is on there. It's got the guys from Mother's Day in it.
So it's one of those like video posters where they were showing like all the different things that were out or something.
Yeah, the different releases from Media Home Entertainment. I can't remember the other ones, but
there's a ton of
that one's got to be really hard to find.
Like there's a bunch of those. Like I was noticing on eBay, they've got like a bunch of different ones that have like, you know, multiple. Like, there's one with the Scanners poster on the front, and then they got a bunch of like videos at the bottom, and then, you know, that was apparently a pretty popular thing to do at the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of these, the thing about that makes these videos posters so rare too is video stores got them back in the day. They hung them up. They stayed hung up for a couple of years, and a lot of them got thrown away. You know, they didn't produce these posters to be sold or anything, really. I mean, it's just a promotional thing.
I like the video post. That's what I've been getting into lately, is trying to buy up the video poster B designs of a lot of these things.
Bradley Taylor, Scream 3 and 4 couldn't be as bad as both Rob Zombie's Halloween movies.
There's not even any comparison. No,
they're probably not that bad. Let's see here. I don't remember. I remember the scene, but I didn't remember if it was any girl in particular. Who was the girl from the video store in part 1 asking about the movie with E.T.'s mom? I think she was somebody.
Oh, fuck. Was she somebody? Hold on. We'll figure it out.
I watched it today, but I don't really, I didn't pay any attention, evidently.
We'll figure it out together. Let's see.
Who was the E.T. girl that asked about E.T.'s mom in a werewolf movie? I want to know. I don't even know how you'd Google that.
That's Bonnie Wood.
Oh, okay.
Her name was Bonnie Wood, but no, as far as I know, she's not been in anything.
Yeah, I know that I didn't really recognize her in anything else. But I didn't really, I mean, I could have not been paying attention either. So that was just a real brief scene. So, yep, I guess that is it. Do you have anything else on here that you wanted to mention real quick, Uncle Bill?
Only thing I want to mention is that I'm still trying desperately to find a Scream original poster. So if you want to sell me one of those, anybody out there has one that they don't want, I'll be happy to get one from you. I mean, they don't.
Get Uncle Bill a damn poster. Coming directly from Ghostface.
They're not that rare, man.
No,
they can't be. Come on. Sell me one.
if I'm not mistaken, I remember seeing a video Scream poster not too long ago at a convention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they exist.
Yeah, they shouldn't cost you $100 either. That's what they are on eBay or whatever. So.
That's the cheapest one I could find. Yeah, but no, I mean, it's a great series. That's what I'll end on to say is that even with Scream 4, it's still a great series. I can go back and watch these movies anytime. They hold up. Several of them hold up today, and it's a pretty cool time capsule into that period of the 90s.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. I mean, I think so too. Like when we were that age, 15, 16, 17 years old, there's not a whole lot of horror films from that time period that you would want to go back and watch again. I mean, there weren't a lot of them. A lot of them were that, shot on or direct to video stuff like the Ice Cream. I mean, Ice Cream Man and stuff like that's one thing, but there's not a whole lot of, I mean, this may be one of the only classics from that era. So it's always fun to go back and look at some of these movies. I think it'd be a good retrospective to do at some point. The movies that Scream inspired, just to go through some of them, maybe not review them, maybe review some of them. Maybe we need to do an updated review of, hey, do you want to know a secret?
Come here. Get over here. Do you want to know a secret? I'm going to tell you.
It used to be the thing we used to do all the time, just out of nowhere. Like we would be in between recording spots on the show. Because I've still got that fucking thing over there. Like you would grab the case or something and just out of nowhere, like, hey, do you want to know a secret? Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. That
Master Video could be working on like the 4K of that.
What's the other one too? Was it Fatal Stab or Final Stab?
Final Stab, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea.
I think that was Canadian.
To do like the films inspired by Scream or some sort of, we're talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend and what was the other one?
Yeah, because you couldn't dedicate, yeah, you couldn't dedicate, like I know What You Did Last Summer's got a few sequels and stuff, but yeah. Those movies I don't think have aged too well, but I wouldn't mind watching. Bloody Murder's another one that's kind of like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind watching some of them again, maybe. But Urban Legend, I remember being pretty good.
It's probably my favorite of the ones that ripped off that format.
Yeah. Don't want to shit on Cousin Luke too much. Valentine's not very good, but Urban Legend was pretty good.
Wow.
Matt, we do still live kind of in the same town. Kind of. Also, though, I just wanted to mention real quick, there's a lot of shit up on the Patreon side. If you haven't checked it out, we did a midweek obliteration that's completely free. You can check that out. And we also have this past Thursday uploaded up to the first 100 episodes of Dead Pit Radio. So it began from December of 2005, and now we're in December of 2007. And that was 100 episodes.
We did a lot of shows.
And then I think we're at like 60 some MySpace shows at this point. And 41 or 42 audio commentaries. And there's a lot more shit that we're going to add. So if you want to check that stuff out, I try to get stuff up there a couple of times a week. And yeah, I mean, it starts at like $1 and you can go up to, we did add 2 more baller and shot caller tiers kind of silently. But they're up there if anybody wants to, engage us that way, because there was one movie that I've already watched. Yeah. Engage with the pit. One Cut of the Dead was one that I'd watched earlier this week. and that was one that our buddy Anthony requested. That's a Japanese movie. So I felt like it was back in the 90s and I was watching, All Japan Pro Wrestling. Mitsuharu Misawa versus Tobioki Kabashi or whatever the hell his name was. I felt like I was, just because that Japan fancy Hadouken talk shit, egg roll.
And then, did you say the other one, which I'm actually looking forward to this, just because I want to see what it's like, is, what is it called, Verotica?
Yeah, it's Glenn Danzig's Verotica. That's the other one for this month, the Patreon reviews. And we should do another one just for fun. I don't know what we'll do, but we should do another one.
We've had some pretty good ones on there, actually. Like some films that I probably would have never seen had it not been for that. So hopefully that streak keeps up.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy doing that. That's one of my favorite things with the patron, aspect of it is, and we also added too, that if you, because most of these guys have stayed with us from the beginning on this baller and shot caller tier, that if you wanted to request like a topic for one of these shows or something like that, that'd be another thing that you could do. If you didn't have a movie to review, that'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we've had a pretty good crowd in here tonight. We appreciate you guys joining us. And I guess we'll get rolling off here. We've been on here almost 2 hours. Sarah's going to cuss me all to hell.
Me too. Not Sarah, but I'm in trouble.
Yeah. What the fuck you been doing in there?
Playing with my bird.
But yeah, we appreciate everybody checking us out. And check out the Patreon page. Check us out, deadpit.com. We got a bunch of stuff planned coming up. I found another hard drive full of shit. I've showed Uncle Bill some of it. It's going to be great. We're going to put it on there.
You got more like fucking found hard drive footage than that guy from Saw. We used to have people dig old stuff.
That's right. Well, yeah, this last one, I did pull it out of my dick hole. It was one that I had back in there. That
it was sewn into your balls. Oh.
But yeah, a lot of old video review stuff that had never been put up on YouTube or anything. So we put some of that stuff up there eventually. And then we're going to be doing some more podcasts and stuff like that too. So we may even put this up as a podcast, Uncle Bill. Fuck it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So until next time, I am the Creepy Kentuckian.
And I'm Uncle Bill.
Check us out over at DEADPIT.
Come here. Let me tell you what it is. .com.
Yeah, come back now. Yeah.
Bye.
Hello. Hi, everybody. We're on the road right now.
Hello.
How you doing, Jessica?
I'm all right. I'm cold.
I can't see you back there.
I'm freezing.
Oh, you freezing. There you go.
God.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Is the heat on in here?
No. But it's been like fucking hotter than hell last couple of days, except today we're going to go see Scream 4.
Oh.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit better experience than the last Wes Craven film we saw down there at the Strand.
Yeah, the last Wes Craven film we saw, we got the shit robbed out of us.
I think that had to have been a practical joke.
Really? It wasn't too funny, was it?
I didn't think it was too funny at all. I'm still using this little mini handy cam.
We lost our camera and nearly our lives.
Yeah. You know what? This vehicle right here is fucking armed. God damn it.
And we're taking everything out of it too. That's the key difference here.
Except Southern Gospel CDs, which nobody wants anyway.
Yeah, nobody wants any of that.
Nobody's going to take any of those. So, this is a Saturday night. We're going to the 9 o'clock showing. We're going to get there about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes early. So hopefully we get a seat. We know how popular the Strand 20 is.
Maybe there'll be about 50 people in the whole building. I don't know.
So there's been a lot of positive feedback on Scream 4 so far. This is the first Scream movie in 11 years, Uncle Bill. Over 11 years.
I know, and I've heard that the movie has changed around completely, and that Kevin Williamson has got some like really cool tricks up his sleeve and all this stuff. But most all the people that I've heard talk about it have said positive things. So except one person that I've heard that didn't like it.
Oh, Don May Jr.
Don May didn't like it at all. So
No.
I don't know.
And then it was filmed a lot in Michigan too.
Yeah.
Some of it
It'll
was,
be
at
like
least.
a homecoming for
I guess it
poor
was-
Jessica back there.
Filmed
Been stuck in Appalachia for 10 months or however long it's
I have
been.
not been here for 10 months. I've been here for...
God, who gives a shit? It's just like you've been here a while. That's all I'm saying.
It's so mean.
You keep a fucking calendar, exact days. Like if it's not the exact amount of days, goddamn, it's like, no, I ain't been here that long yet.
So
It's been another 3 days before I've been here
should
that
we
long.
park someplace else? Aside from where we parked last time and got robbed.
No, we're not gonna get robbed this time because you're playing with power with this fucking vehicle,
It's like
folks.
the NES. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't run
Power
over.
Those little girls fucking robbed us right there. There they are.
Shit, it's more little kids. They're coming
Those
out of
fucking
the woodwork.
kids.
Thank God.
Shit.
We're gonna die.
The Prestonsburg Fire Department is behind you though.
Well, that's great. I can't do anything until these motherfuckers get out of here.
I'm scared, Uncle
Most
Bill.
people give you a dirty look like you're gonna run them over or something.
I am gonna run them. Uncle Bill is gonna run them over because we
They
don't
get
like
'em away
we don't
with
like children, do we, Uncle
Why are
Bill?
so many fucking kids here?
Hot.
Hot movies on. We're parking over in the most desolate area. We're gonna test the theory that they're
Yeah.
gonna get robbed.
Well, one thing's for sure, they're not gonna steal the camera because I'm taking it with me.
Well, another thing that's for sure is if I see him, I'm gonna shoot him in the goddamn head.
So, what's your final thought on this movie, Uncle Bill, before we go in to see Scream 4?
Well,
My feet hurt.
It's not your final thought; it's Uncle Bill's.
I think
It's like the Jerry Springer Show.
it would have to be something amazing for Wes Craven to impress me right now, because after My Soul to Take and then us getting robbed, I'm a little fucking upset with him.
Yeah. So we'll see. We're gonna get robbed again.
Look at blind with that light.
Yeah.
Blind
That's right.
science.
You know your damn role. So we got out of seeing the movie. It's fucking 10 to 11 in the morning or at night.
It
I
is.
was
It's
gonna
almost
say,
morning.
shit.
That is a long ass
That was a
fucking
long
movie.
movie.
Yeah. So what were your thoughts and opinions?
I'm gonna actually kind of pull of Don May Jr. on this one. Like, if it wasn't for the ending of that movie, I don't think I would have liked it very much at all. I think the ending saved it for me in a lot of ways, because really the whole rest of the movie was a lot of shit that you'd seen in like every other Scream movie. In my opinion, it was kind of
Continuation.
boring to me.
Longer.
I didn't really even like the whole concept of having the two killers again, although I kind of knew that
Yeah.
something like that was going to happen with that girl.
Because
for sure.
there's if you watch all of the movie, like, because Scream is kind of one of those movies that's kind of fun, like just the series where you can go along and like try to check people off that it couldn't have been. But I did that with this movie, and I noticed that it had to be two people.
Yeah.
Because everybody else was, there was no other person it could have been that was by themselves or whatever.
But it just, it seemed like, okay, they had the entire cast back and everything like that, but they didn't really update you anything really at all about their lives, and you didn't really, it's the typical Wes Craven movie that he makes nowadays, which is like, he never concentrates on any character. He's got like 40 different things going on at one time, and he never really gets anything accomplished.
That's true. Now here's the portion of the show where we get something from McDonald's.
Trey's back here.
Well, that's good. You can start smoking
You
again.
can't smoke in here, Jessica.
I would like to have a cigarette.
Me and Uncle Bill's gonna light up some marijuana and smoke in front of you. So we're at a McDonald's already. That's good food, wasn't it, Uncle Bill?
That was delicious.
Woo! So we're gonna talk more about Scream 4. It's the 4th chapter. I You know what? I liked it. I mean, I didn't think it was bad. It just sticks the same formula all those other movies, the Scream movies, before it, and it doesn't really break. I think the only new ground it broke is it was like poking a lot of fun at remakes, and you know, they added the whole thing where the killer films the killings, the murders.
Yeah. What did you think, though, Jess?
I disagree with you guys. I really liked it.
I said I liked it.
No, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really fun. It's really dark outside.
Yeah, it is.
These roads right here are the ones that made Kelly Marcotte shit his pants. The making of Ends of the Pit.
Almost killed a fucking deer
Yeah.
too.
Kelly was like, I don't know what the hell you guys do around here. There's no lights on the damn road.
But I really liked it. I thought it was cool. It was a lot more graphic. It seemed like there was a lot more blood compared to the other ones.
There was a lot of violence towards penises in this too.
The killers or whatever, when they were calling on the phone, they talked a little bit more. It's just more violent, just the things that they were saying. And I mean, I knew what was coming when people were dying and stuff, but there was a couple of death scenes there was one I was kind of like, ow, that hurt, with Anthony Perkins, the cop Anthony Perkins. That one kind of freaked me out a little bit, but yeah. I thought it was all right, and I liked how the ending went. That was fun.
One gripe I had with it, though, is like, I'm not going to give anything away, although people do that all the time on the internet. Like, all of the newer characters were fine, aside from the girl that was the lead, the main girl that was Sydney's, what was it, cousin or something?
Yeah.
She sucked. She was bad, I thought.
Well,
I like the part with Anna Paquin. Just because I like her.
She was barely in it.
She was barely in it, but I still liked it.
That was one of my complaints with the beginning of the movie too, though, is because I thought when it actually gets to the opening or whatever, that was kind of fucking weak too. I mean, I can remember every other opening to all the other Scream movies because they were all fucking awesome. Like the first one, you had, of course, the Drew Barrymore thing. The second one,
Jada Pinkett Smith.
yeah, Jada Pinkett.
Yeah, that was
the third
cool.
one, you had the Cotton thing where it's his girlfriend.
And they're playing Creed.
What
if?
Yeah.
What if? Ah!
They're all really awesome, but this one was just like, it's just kind of fucking there.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on that. I didn't think that it had that killer intro, because like that, it was a false start on a couple of times. You're like, oh, what the fuck, you know? I think they probably should have stuck with the Anna Paquin intro. That'd been cooler.
I thought it was fun though. I didn't. I mean,
It was like a homecoming for you though too.
Oh yeah, because they had filmed a lot of it in Michigan. I don't think they filmed all of it, but a lot of it. But they filmed it right in downtown Plymouth, so I was able to point out everything. Like, oh, there's a fountain, and then and then they changed the front of one of the buildings and stuff. I thought it was fun. And then they had news reporters from Michigan too. That was always really fun. What the hell?
This is the old plantation. Now this is where the fucking Big Sandy Slayer killed, like, what was it, 15 of the people.
Killed 15 infants.
Yeah. You ever hear the story of the Big Sandy Slayer? Yes.
Are all those doors open?
Yeah. The legend is that all those doors will not close.
They're the 7 doors of death.
There's like 15 doors.
That's what I said, the 15 that were killed.
Yeah, the 15 doors of
The
death.
spirits of those 15 will not let the door close.
Yeah. You like this door open? I'm a spit.
I'm a pissed off spit. A Big Sandy Slayer stabbed me in the butt. Yeah, I liked it though. I'm more along the lines with Jess's opinion. I mean, I think you said it was all right. You didn't mind it.
Yeah, I think the ending really did save it though. I mean, the ending was so out there and kind of cool and funny at the same time, and it was like another Scream movie. So it kind of saved the whole movie, in my opinion. But all the rest of it up to the ending was just kind of filler to me.
Now, answer me this, because I may be confused. Was Anthony Anderson in the Scream movies before?
No,
I don't think
he
so.
was in
I thought
a scary movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember him in. It seems like he was a police officer in one of them too. Maybe I'm just confused. I don't know.
I seen him on Jimmy Fallon. And that's when I go.
Oh, you're actually the one person left that watches Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I was up late. Actually, it was a really funny episode. It had Uma Thurman.
We're not going to sit and argue about Jimmy Fallon. God damn it.
I was like, it's almost like that fucking Last Call with Carson Daly. Is that shit still fucking on?
Well, that was so
Does anybody watch it?
Okay, well, you know what? The one time I did watch Jimmy Fallon, Anthony Anderson was on it, and they showed clips from Scream 4.
Jimmy Fallon's a piece of shit. But anyway, Scream 4, I advise you to check it out. I think it's going to be the beginning of a new trilogy of Scream movies.
It's a lot better than My Soul to Take.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell he was spending a lot more time on Scream than... I don't know what he did with My Soul to Take. I think
maybe he just like...
I think that was a joke.
He let his son Jonathan fucking clock in on My Soul to Take or something. Because that's by far the shittiest Wes Craven movie I think he's ever made. And that counts that stupid movie he made with Meryl Streep.
Shit.
I like that.
I don't know, Deadly Friends pretty shitty too.
Fuck, whatever, man. Deadly Friends that's a masterpiece compared to My Soul to Take. I mean, Anne Ramsey alone.
Yeah, I thought My Soul to Take though was great because it was so shitty in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, we need to do like a commentary over My Soul to Take.
Because if we do, our houses will explode.
That's true.
It's
We'll
like-
get
I think we've broken the curse now, though. Everything's in here.
I don't know, we're still driving. We might
That's
die.
true. And I did about get hit on the way in there. Some motherfucker about killed me. That would have been worse than even get shit stolen.
somebody
What would
backhoes
you-
in a car.
What would you do in a world without CK, Uncle Bill?
A world without heroes. That's what it would be.
I like that part in the movie where they were showing that stab, and then you actually see where it says directed by Robert Rodriguez when they're playing the movie Stab. I thought that was cute. You see Robert Rodriguez's name on me.
I think that, I mean, there are a couple of good things about it. I think that Hayden Panettiere.
Was that the short head?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked her. I
Yeah.
thought she was really good.
The rest of the cast, though, even the main characters really didn't have a whole lot to do because they concentrated mostly on the new cast.
In a way, too, like if you think about it, like it is a playoff of the original, too. The way, like I don't know if y'all caught that at the very end, not to give anything away. It is kind of like a remake of the original. The end of it is.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, though, I think all of us would at least advise you to go see it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can compare to the original trilogy at all.
I don't think that it's really, in my opinion, as good as the last one that we went to see at all. Like Insidious.
No, but like, how would you compare it to? Because a lot of people are saying it's better than Scream 3. I actually like Scream 3.
I don't know if I would say it's better than Scream 3.
What about Jess?
I hardly remember Scream 3.
You didn't watch it?
Not the Blu-ray.
Man, fine.
I seen Scream 3 a long time ago, but I never got around
You
to
saw
watching
it back
the
when it
Blu-ray.
came out when you were like 12.
I'll tell you this though, it's better than any Mothra movie or any David Lynch film. That's for damn sure.
Does that go out to anybody in particular?
No, I'm just saying.
But I guess the next one though, we're definitely gonna go see the Planet of the Apes CGI remake. I want to see that.
God damn it.
I'm gonna go see Medea.
We're gonna go see them fucking monkeys jump around.
The Godmother.
It looks like something from a Wii game, like Donkey Kong Country.
It did, man. Like, what the fuck? It just seems like filmmakers, because they have CG, they become unbelievably lazy about everything. And it's like, oh, we can use CG now. Fuck it. Who cares if it looks like shit?
Who is directing that movie? Do you know?
I don't know.
If it's Tim Burton, I'd laugh my ass off.
The Conan movie, I've not seen a lot on that, though, but that comes out shortly, too, doesn't it? I don't know what else
Yeah,
comes
there was
out.
a poster in there.
Yeah.
I don't know either, like in terms of horror films. What would be the next?
This is definitely, I think, Scream 4 had to be the big one as far as the franchise movies go of the year.
Yeah,
There's
the
always
was
some-
packed. There was a ton of
Yeah.
stuff.
There's
They're going to make a ton. That's what I was saying. They're going to make more of these because this one's going to make a shitload of money.
There's that one too though that we always see the previews for now. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark remake.
Yeah. Does that come out? When does that come out? Like May or
Yeah.
something? That probably suck, though.
And
It
then
looks
there's
like pure hell, but I mean, Guillermo del Toro had something to do with it. I can't remember if he directed or
I think-
produced it, but
He directed it.
Did he?
I think.
it might
No,
be
I think
okay
he
if
produced it.
Directed it. If he produced it, it's gonna be shit.
Guillermo del Toro. He produced The Orphanage. I didn't think that was that bad.
There's the Apollo movie that's coming
That looks
out.
like shit.
It does.
I think it does.
I swear to God, I'm sick to death of those
Astronaut shit.
handheld vintage camera footage and stuff from all these movies.
They look different.
Well, there's one coming.
It looked like a shit. Yes, go ahead and look.
There's one coming out though that's just like that. Who's doing it? Shit.
Dickie Bird.
No. You know, the one that it's kind of like ripping on the clover field and stuff.
Oh, look here, wide angle.
I don't remember if it was J.J. Abrams or somebody like that was directing it.
Oh yeah, Super 8.
Yeah.
That I heard that was actually supposed to be really good, but
Now,
that's
what I'm
not.
talking about though. That's the thing that they're all riffing on right now is that movie. I guess with trying to make money off it before it even comes out.
Word on the street is it's a fucking Bigfoot movie. I don't know if that's true or not. But that's like the rumor that if that's the case, that's fucking killer.
I haven't seen any of these previews.
There's not a preview of it. It's just got like a lot of hype and stuff. He's not divulging what the plot is at all.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll see. That is it for Scream 4 on the road. By God. So we'll see you next time. Creepy Kentuckian.
Uncle Bill.
On DEADPIT.com. That's one of his favorite things.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Howdy, folks. It's one of the live, it's like a Clash of Champions special, Uncle Bill. It's a live midweek obliteration show. And we're welcomed from Facebook user. What's up, fellas? Let's do this, Facebook user.
Can I just say that, like, that may be my favorite line of all time. Gonna get wet when I knock you back to 1985 with my dick.
My dick.
Real quick. I think that's what makes it, like, real quick.
What's up, Dylan? We got Dylan on here again. Old Curly Jaws is back. Kevin Ketchy. Brad, Harry Ass Crack is in the house.
Harry Ass Crack.
Stream Elements. The bot from Stream Elements is running. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody ought to sign in to Stream Elements and just like fuck with us. Like, fuck you. If you like his show, fuck you.
If you like his show, go shit and fall back into sideways. Scratch Boyno is in here. What's up, man? So yeah, tonight is the night that you all have been waiting for. Or I don't know if anybody's been waiting for it, but we've seen this movie. We've not really talked about it with each other. I haven't said much of anything about it public. So, yeah, we figured it'd be a good time just to do a live stream on it. We did not get to do a Dead Pit on the road for it, Uncle Bill. I'm upset.
Yeah, that's just one of those.
Foz Rotten is in the house. Maniac Mike Kenny. What's going on, brother? Ali Hamoud. What's up, sir? Michael Rash Paul. Good to see you boys again. Old Curly Jaws says, Scream 5 was fucking great. Do you want to?
But again, I'm pretty sure that guy's a troll. Like, it just, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's saying the opposite of whatever he actually thinks. But I'm just glad that Dan the Beast Williams is in here. I mean, that's the
Dan the Beast Williams. We got Carter Derdention in the house. We got the Geek Room for Life.
Douglas Boom Boom Connor's in here. Fucking
Doug Connor was shit the bed balls.
Yeah.
So, what you been into, Uncle Bill?
Not a whole hell of a lot, man. Just work. Really don't even leave the house anymore. First time I left the house was to go to see this movie.
It's kind of, right now, since, Rona Mania is running wild again this winter, it's probably safer just to, They've evacuated today at work, evacuated 2 separate areas, one whole building, and the upstairs of another building to clean for the Rona. Had some positive contacts there.
Omicron's running wild.
Trace 842 is in here as well. So, like I said, tonight is the night. Scream 5 Cream, Scream 5, whatever you all want to call it. We're going to be talking about tonight, Uncle Bill. Let's go through a little bit of a brief history with us and the Scream movies. Because I think, a lot of the comments and thoughts on movies that I've read online differs quite a bit from what I think about the series and how they rank and all that. For me in particular, nothing's going to touch that first movie.
No.
And it it just can't. It's never going to. But I hold the first 3 up to kind of like a standard. I like the original trilogy because for many, many years there, from 1996 to 2000, that was the original trilogy. So they waited a good 11 years to come out with Scream 4, which, well, I think we revisited that and talked about it last year. We did like a stream on the entire run of the Scream movies up to that point. And another 11 years, we get 5 Cream or Scream 5. So how would you rank the original? We'll say the original 4 first before we get into the.
I really think that they go 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that's exactly how I would rank them. Like people shit all over 3 for some reason, but I think it actually like has the same vibe as the other 2. Like it feels like the same. It wasn't too far along after the second one. They did the third one, and they did them all like back to back. So they all had certain like parts of them that kind of harken back to the original. And I think that was the case up until part 4. And then part 4, I don't think part 4 has any of the music in it, like the Red Right Hand and all that. Like it just, and it doesn't, because of that, it doesn't really feel like the same type of movie. It's got a lot of stupid shit in it too. Like the opening is awful. But part 1, that opening is still classic.
The Scream 4 opening is almost like Scary Movie or something, right? I mean, it's too, it's a little bit too hokey.
I mean, I think that what they were going for was like, kind of like touching on the Scream films. Like before they were just touching on horror movies. But in, the 4th one, they're actually like talking about the Scream or the Stab movies. Which
Stab,
is just kind of,
Stab 4, 5, and 6 kind of run together or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't think 3 was awful. I mean, it's not. See, and this is where I think it kind of gets bad too. Like, the first 2, I really feel like that they were trying to make something like surprising and unique, and like the endings were really, really like well done. And in 3, it's just like, oh fuck, it's just it's like it really wasn't, And then in 4, it's kind of the same thing. It's like I actually think the ending of 4 is better than the ending of 3, but as a whole, the ending in their entirety, 3 is definitely better than 4.
Yeah, I mean 3 and 4 both. The endings on both of those aren't the best. But to me, Scream 3 still kind of felt like a Scream movie. And Scream 4 really didn't. I don't know what it was. I mean, maybe it was just the difference in time in between those. But I'm kind of like you. I would rank them in the order that they came out, probably. Up until this new one came out. And then my rankings changed a little bit. And we'll get to that. But Michael Raj-Paul sent us a Canadian Super Chat. Bulls, we definitely appreciate that. The 4th entry was solid. And 2009, you had the beginning of clout chasing, wanting to be famous just for anything. 4 was in like 2011, I think. Right?
Yes.
I don't think there was okay. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of the era of like, what was the show that really started that? Like what was that Paris Hilton show? And then there was like a ton of them. People that were famous for really
Simple
doing nothing.
Life or something like that.
Simple Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the whole thing with, there was a fascination at the time for a few years there about live streaming on the internet. And this was way before, like right now, which is like live streams and stuff like that's a huge thing. I don't even know if that was possible in 2011. I mean, I know we did the blog TV, Stickam stuff, but that was part of, part 4 as well, from what I can recall.
Yeah, I'm going to have to step out. I'll be back shortly.
Uncle Bill has to go poop. So while we're waiting on here, though, I will go through some of the comments. We kind of knew Uncle Bill had to step out for a minute, but he will be back shortly. So I want to see what you guys... Douglas Connor agrees with the Creepy Kentuckian. The original trilogy is where it's at. 4 has always been disappointing to me. Me too. The next one could possibly be Scream 666. I don't think that they would go that route. Harry As Crack ranks them 1, 2, 5, 4, and 3. Dan Williams ranks them 1, 2, 5, 4, and 3 as well. So 3, even though, are you guys saying that Creed didn't really do anything for you in part 3? Because I think Creed alone made Scream 3 better than Scream 4. Jenny McCarthy too. Jenny McCarthy was rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling all over the set of Stab 2, Stab 3. I can't remember which one it was. Plus, Lance Hendrickson was in Scream 3. Scream 3 had some cool shit going for it. Doug, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4. That's a popular ranking. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4 for Dylan Barnett as well. No, wait. 1, 2, 5, 3, and 4 for Dylan. Courtney Cox hair in part 3. Yeah, we were talking about that the other day. It's almost like her bangs were like shaved or something. They were like crazy short. Scream 4. Well, Scream 4 is like... I don't know about Scream 5 related to the Stab movies. They didn't really reference the Stab movies as much in Scream 5, but it was all over Scream 4. I have not to be fair, I have not rewatched the third movie in quite some time. I just, from memory, that opening kill with Creed playing in the background, I mean, you just don't get much better than that. Yeah, Trey's Varice Sarabande sold out of their box set for the Scream soundtracks. What I want a vinyl of is not the soundtrack, though. It's the CD that they came out with, which... This is for the original Scream movie. This is music from the motion picture. And this has the Red Right Hand on it and a few of the other tunes that were played. But yeah, I mean, the Scream score itself, I don't know if I would really listen to that very much. But that is a cool looking set. CA 1, 2, 4, 5, and 3. So everybody hates 3. It is poo time for Uncle Bill. Oh, Curly Jaws is ranking. Now, Curly Jaws, I understand you may be wanting to get like a reaction, but old Curly Jaws is ranking 5 and 4 above part 1. Come on now. Come on now. Come on, old Curly Jaws. So his was 5, 4, 1, 3, and 2. Rob Zilla, what's going on? Corey Hatfield. That's a name from the past. 1, 2, 4, 3, and 5. That's kind of close to my ranking, Corey. We'll talk about 5 or 5 Cream or just Scream, whatever you want to call it. Rob Zilla is claiming that he didn't like any of the some bitches. Harry Ass Crack, Creed is the best part, or was the best part of Scream 3. Phantasmat, I can't see how people think 3 is the worst. To me, 4 is the worst. Michael Rajpal, I think 4 speaks to a different generation. Being famous was the endgame irregardless of how it was obtained. The ending of 4 was brilliant and great commentary for the time. My whole thing with 4 is it was one of those movies that didn't know where to end. I mean, it had like 2 or 3 different endings from what I can recall. And there's the one scene where Julia Roberts' niece, whatever the hell her name is, I can't remember. I know she's related to Julia Roberts. It's Eric Roberts' daughter. She just like does fucking like drops and flips and stuff through glass tables and is just doing all kinds of craziness to look like she got beat up or whatever. And I'm like, what the hell? Chris V says that number 1 is the only Scream worth revisiting. I mean, Scream 1 is by far the best movie. I mean, anybody that tries to deny that is kidding themselves. But you can. I mean, it's worth a discussion. But, I mean, I always like the second one as well, quite a bit. Foz says 1, 4, 5, 2, and 3. Again, a lot of people don't like part 3. Phantasmat, 2, 1, 5, 3, and 4. Pizzal, what's going on, dude? If Creed had been on the soundtrack for the new Scream, it'd be my number 1 for sure. What if? Speaking of which, we do have a What If t-shirt on shop.deadpit.com right now. And the t-shirt does ask one question. Trippy Critic. I actually enjoyed 4's ideas. What if Sydney was the killer and played victim for a new trilogy? But the original Sydney stops her and tells her, don't fuck with the original. Perfect ending. I don't know about that. I'm confused. Carded or Dention, Jan Silent Bob cameo in Scream 3. Scream 3 was like, it had a lot of goofy shit in it. But I enjoy it, to be honest with you. It's not the ending, the last 15 minutes and all that was not very good. But I kind of still liked it. Mark, I really hated 3 when I watched it recently. I only watched 4 once, and I felt like it was better than 3. Funny thing about Scream 4, I think it was Paramount that did the Scream 4 Blu-ray, or whoever did it, I don't know. They sent us a review copy of it way back in like 2011 or whenever it came out, and it was still sealed up until last year. I finally revisited Scream 4, but I never really had the desire. If it was left just up to me, I probably never would have opened it. But we did like a Scream retrospective last year on it. I think part of it is just the generational gap there. Like, kids nowadays are kind of like, they're kind of douchebags. Falls rotten. What about Cottonmouth King's plan and B-Boys dancing during Randy's death scene? Part 2, correct. I like part 2. I think the opening death scene in part 2 is good. The movie was all the fantastic, as Uncle Bill would say. If you're a fan of Roseanne, how could you not enjoy Scream 2? The opening scene in part 3 is pretty good. And it's not just because of Creed. I think it's well made. Trippy Critic rewatched Scream 3 for the new movie, and it was solid compared to the last two. It's a solid trilogy. Robert Long, do you think they'll make a new Scary Movie 6? Man, I hope not. I don't think so. They may. You know, they could do the whole, you know, they make fun of Midsummer and stuff like that, like some of the newer stuff. Oh, Curtis, y'all. Scream 5 made a shit ton. We're getting 6, 7, and 8. That's possible. I mean, it did do very well. I think for, you know, all the craziness that's going on right now, I think it did really good. The first one is a cool soundtrack, and that's what I don't know if a lot of people don't realize is this is not the vinyl that's coming out. This is music from the movie, which is like a lot of bands, like the Nick Cave and who else we got here? Birdbrain, Catherine, Guth, a bunch of 90s alternative rock bands. That is not on that vinyl set. The vinyl set is just the score, from what I understand. Yeah, Piz, I actually did hear something about that. That the original script for Scream 3 changed quite a bit. A lot of that was due to they added a lot of comedy in there, more comedy into it because of, I think, Columbine or something like that happened. I think it was Columbine. And they went a little bit of a different route with it due to that. Suspiria Night, 4 tries too hard and 5 is sort of pointless, but the entire series is definitely rewatchable. I think so. I mean, ultimately, as bad as 4 is, I don't know if 4 is nearly as bad as like something like Freddy's Dead or Elm Street 5 or something like that. I mean, at least it's, I don't know, it'd be an interesting discussion with Uncle Bill whenever he gets back from taking his dump. As far as the series goes, I think Elm Street, as far as the big franchises, Elm Street's probably the weakest overall. At least for movies that I enjoy. I would say the first 4 movies for Elm Street. Friday the 13th is the strongest. Halloween is somewhere in between. It's pretty good. Scream's pretty good. I mean, I like the first 3, and I'll get into part 5 here in a minute. It's going to be a little bit differing opinions, I think, between me and Uncle Bill. Granted, I didn't go into Scream 5 or 5 Cream with the highest expectations. I do need to pick up the soundtrack for Scream 3. It's a lenticular soundtrack, and Wind Up Records, Creed's record label. And I'm not shitting you, I swear to God. They're the ones that put the soundtrack out, I believe. But I'm not willing to spend anything more than $1 on it at Goodwill. So I'll just wait. Eventually I'll find it at some point. Kevin is ranking them 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4. Interesting. That's an interesting ranking, Kevin. Howard Stern's Paranoid Turn, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 4 as well. 1, 2, 4, 3, and 5 from the Trippy Critic. Scream 4 is by far the worst opening in the franchise. Yeah, as far as the actual opening, I think it made the least money of any of them as well. Ali Hammond, 1, 2, 4, 5, and 3. Scream 4 is some straight up doo-doo or poo-poo. And Uncle Bill is coming back, I think, by the way. That's one thing that I didn't do. I didn't go back and rewatch all the movies again. I probably should have done that. I think Uncle Bill did go back and rewatch the movies again, didn't you, Uncle Bill? Or let me get his headset in there.
That took longer than I fucking thought it would.
Hey, buddy, that's unprofessional.
I'm sorry. You've been talking about Children of the Corn.
How many children of the corn was in that dump you took?
That was a lot. It's like one of them dumps, like you just fucking pour garden soil into the toilet.
Oh.
You know how that is.
Yeah. So you did go back and rewatch all the Scream movies, is that right?
No joke, we probably watch those movies at least like once every 2 weeks or something. Just anyway, like they're just one of those movies that we're always kind of like on around in the background and stuff. So I would gather to say I've probably seen the first 3 like 100 times, and probably like the fourth one 5 times if I was guessing.
Well, that's enough, you know.
Yeah.
Scott Steiner says that there's a 33 and a third % chance that Scream 3 can kiss his ass.
He likes those odds.
Yeah, we've had a freaking crazy chat in here so far. Corey says Kristen Stewart evokes more emotion than the actresses in Scream 5.
I agree with that.
Dusty Rose, baby, from Texas, something. So Dusty Rhodes saying, "What's your favorite scary movie, Daddy?" Tell me.
So how you want to do this, though? I mean,
Let's just talk about it. I mean,
okay.
So originally it was 5 Cream, Uncle Bill. And damn it, I wish they stuck with that name. But I guess due to like the success of Halloween 2018, there was another movie that did that too. Candyman did it again, kind of. They decided on just, hey, there's going to be another Scream. So not only when you search IMDb, you're going to see Scream, that fucking piece of shit Scream from 1982. That's a movie for a different show.
Yeah,
Holy
I need to watch that.
Fuck.
I have not watched that yet, and I know that it's like awful from what everybody's been saying.
That is a movie that makes Final Exam and Terror on Tour exciting. I'll just say that.
God.
Oh. You talked about movies like that before, though, like where half of the movie is just people standing around, and literally that's what that movie is.
Like when you don't have money to do a movie, you can always tell in these 80s movies because there's like way too much just like dialogue and people kind of standing around talking about exposition and things like that. And yeah, very little kills and very little production value, just kind of chilling.
Yeah. So you got Scream from 1996, which is the whole, it kind of, it created the whole damn game. For 90s horror on into the early 2000s for sure. We've had a lot of requests on people wanting us to do a show on movies that were inspired by Scream or Scream ripoffs. You could do a whole series of shows on those because
that was like the whole like late 90s, early 2000s. Like,
yeah, crazy. Like for years and years, probably for a good solid almost 10 years there. There were Scream ripoffs theatrically too. But this one is, and it kind of poked fun at itself in the movie, is a requel, is what they coined the, and it's kind of a retelling of the original movie, but with new people and all that. Somebody, I think it was Master Chaos TV, is a good way to describe this movie, and we'll review it here, but quickly, if anybody hasn't seen it, they'll probably want to because there's no way we can talk about this movie without spoilers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think that it has to be with spoilers. Otherwise, a lot of the shit you can't even really get into.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay, so let's start, I guess, with the plot of the film. So good Lord. Like, how do you even, like, go about explaining this shit?
Well, it starts like a lot of Scream movies start. All right.
Yes.
One thing they introduced in this, much like in Scream 3, they introduced the voice box that turned in any fucking body, right?
And, well, that's one thing that, I mean, I never really cared for that gimmick anyway, but, like, in this one, they start off with, like, two sisters. One of them's Sam and one of them's Amber. And, like, one of the sisters is at home alone, and she's doing the whole thing in the kitchen, and phone starts ringing, and they do the screamy thing. And she, you know, figures it out. And then he says that he's spying on her sister and all this. So, this, I guess, is like one of the big, not really a twist, but it's something different they've never done in any of the openings before, is that she gets stabbed, and she gets attacked and everything, but she doesn't die. She actually just ends up in the hospital, and the rest of the next part of the movie is just about, like, her sister coming back into her life and all these friends and stuff that she's got, you know, kind of.
And her sister's boyfriend.
Yes.
As well.
And then you find out, this is one part that got me too, man, where I was like, oh fuck, come on. Like, then you find out that the sister has got, like, hallucinations. And I'll just say, I don't know, like, you know, how far you want to get into this without saying spoilers, but.
No, we're spoiling it all the way. I mean, if anybody really wanted to watch it, it would be watched by now. It's been out for almost a week. So here's your warning right now. If you do not want to be spoiled with this review, turn it off and check it out a little bit later after you watch the movie.
So the sister has hallucinations of Billy Loomis, who, you know, is the fucking killer from the original Scream. And at the beginning, you don't really know, like, what the hell's going on or anything like that. And then you come to find out that is her dad. That's right. Like, and I'm like, those scenes where he's like in the rear view mirror and shit, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? You fucking gonna kill this motherfucker. Whatever.
Well, keep in mind, too, this was her dad, right, who she didn't know. She shouldn't have known what he really even looked like. But he's showing up in full, like, wardrobe and stuff from Scream 1. They tried their best. Hey, and I got to say, they did pretty good, considering it's been 25 years later. Right? I mean, he's put on a little bit of weight. That was real, and aged a little bit. But, you know, they did a pretty good job. He kind of looked directly from the movie, I would say.
Did they de-age? Somebody said that the de-aging was true. I thought he just, like, that's what he looked like. He'd had plastic surgery or something. Did they use that kind of technology? Because he looks like a wet lizard.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, they probably did something with his face to take some of the wrinkles out or something like that. I don't know. But that was kind of a surprise. I mean, I didn't hear anybody really talk about that before the movie or anything. I tried to kind of stay away from the spoilers and all that. But yeah, there's that whole story, and that kind of put a wedge in between the two sisters for a while. That's kind of what did it. And now the sister is back, and this is in Woodsboro, right? They're back in Woodsboro. And the younger sister has a whole hospital room full of friends, which means, hey, which of the friends? You know it's going to be one of them, at least, right?
Right.
And it didn't take me too long to figure out. And we'll talk about there's two in this. One of them I almost knew from the very beginning of the whole thing. Like, I was like, okay, she's in on it for sure.
I kind of did too, but only because of, like, another movie that she had been in. And I was like, they're going to probably use her more than the rest of these people that nobody's ever seen. But we'll talk about that, yeah.
And the dude, well, we'll get into it here in a little bit. But, I mean, you're bringing back David Arquette, Courtney Cox, which, Jesus Christ, we've talked about that before.
Bless her heart.
Neve Campbell. Now, The interesting thing is, throughout most of the movie, I would say David Arquette has the more of the integral role for a while. And the other two characters don't really come into play until really towards maybe what the last 15 minutes of the movie or something.
Yeah,
Which I definitely appreciated that. I mean, for me, because those characters have run their course, in my opinion.
Well, I thought for some reason that they would try to do it similar to the way they did Scream 4, which in terms of like that they would split the time basically of the new characters versus the old characters. But in this one, it's like the whole first, probably 90 minutes of that movie is the new characters, and then like the old characters start coming back into it. And they're only in it for like probably a couple of 5 to 10 minutes.
That was probably one of the aspects of the movie that I liked the most, is that they tried to get like a new generation of characters in there and tried to rewrite the story kind of to make it make a little bit more sense, rather than, Michael Myers and stuff like that, like Jason Voorhees. I don't think you really need a storyline to put them into any sort of situation. But with Scream, it was always kind of like a murder mystery type deal where it kind of had to make a little bit of sense with the plot. But Michael Rajpal, again for another super chat, thank you very much, sir. Do you think the Scream franchise needs new members from the original cast to do well? Or can the name alone make money?
I think that they should have done just like original members. Like, I don't even think that new members. I don't think any of the original people should have even been in this one. Because I guess they're doing it to appeal to like all fans, but it really didn't make that much of a fucking difference. Like, honestly, like they could have totally done it with just new.
The name itself sells, I think. I mean, if you look at most of the promotional material, a lot of it has the Ghostface mask on it, right? So what I would have done, I would have think it'd been a better way to do it if you wanted to completely start a new trilogy. Our buddy Master Chaos, what I was going to say before is he hearkened it to The Force Awakens, which is almost exactly what it was. A Scream version of the Star Wars Force Awakens, because it tries to start a new story while using characters from the original. What I would have done, and they did kill off one of the original 3 characters that came back, I think it would have been more effective if, the death scene was Neve Campbell instead. I think it would have worked better.
I think they honestly should have just fucking killed everybody. Like, I don't think...
That's true.
I mean, just go ahead, because, like, they killed probably, like, the majority of people's favorite character, I would say. So, I don't know. Like, at that point, you're 5 films in. There's really no way that they can do much more with Neve Campbell. Like, it was silly in this one. And, like...
But I think where she was barely in it, it didn't really bother me. I mean, if she was in the whole movie, it would have been one thing. The opening of this movie was pretty good, though. Dylan mentions on here, and I agree. I think that it's definitely like an homage to the first movie in a lot of ways. And I think it was well done. I mean, we do need to mention, I don't know if I can pronounce these guys' names, the directors that, this is the first Scream movie that was not directed by Wes Craven. It's the guys that did Ready or Not and VHS, one of the episodes in VHS, and one of your favorite, handheld horror movies, Devil's Due. I know that was one of your favorites.
Oh, my God. Yeah. The fucking classic.
Matt Alpin and Tyler Gillette, who, them along with another guy, were also known as the Radio Silence Trio, whatever the hell that was. I don't know. But pretty good choice, I think. I mean, Ready or Not was killer. I mean, I think we all enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a great film. Like, actually, like, they had 2 films that came out that were kind of like close together that I thought were both fucking killer, that had like similar premises. The Hunt and Ready or Not. Like, both of them were awesome.
Skeet Rudder. Would that have been a...
Skeet
I don't
Rudder.
know. I like Russ Rudder. It kind of goes, Russ Rudder. I don't know if Skeet Rudder works as good. Skeeter. You could be Skeeter Rudder. I wonder if Skeet's full name is Skeeter.
That'd be fucking killer if it was. So fucking Skeeter Ulrich.
Skeet Ulrich sounds like a damn rock star, though, doesn't it? It's almost like he was like the guitarist for fucking Fuel or something like that.
Oh my god. Bring up fucking Fuel.
Well, I mean, this is that, the Scream era. The Fuel was popular. And
That's true.
Hooba Stank and Finger Fuck 11 and all
Incubus.
that like that.
Incubus was popular. Remember that shit-ass band?
But they give you a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of friends. The group of friends are big fans of the Stab movies. They all gather with, Jamie Kennedy's character's sister, which makes a return from Scream 3. And they went so far as to actually get the same damn actress, which
they weren't fucking around.
Yeah. So they're all fans of the story and the movies and everything. So there's all that. There's a couple of things that happen throughout the movie, looking back on it, where, I mean, I know it's kind of like logic, and you can't really put logic in a lot of these movies. But, looking back at who the two killers were.
Yes.
Right. So there's one of them that's in the hospital scene unmasked as they're trying to escape the hospital. There's another ghost face that is clearly the girl of the two, the smallest one, who overpowers Dewey and gets shot.
Yeah, that part fucking got me too. Like, I was like, when I came out of the theater, I was like, now how the fuck would that work exactly?
Right. And not only that, gets shot after she does overpower Dewey there, and then there's kind of a battle back and forth, and she gets shot 2 or 3 times, right?
Yeah.
And meets him back in time for the party that's going on while they were in the damn hospital.
Correct.
Okay? So, I don't know. Maybe it's just being a little bit too picky, but I'm like, that doesn't fucking make sense.
There was a problem with this to me is that there wasn't even really any likable characters, like, in terms of the old cast or the new cast. Like, I didn't really like what they did with the old cast, and I didn't really like what they did with the new cast, so I was kind of just, like, stuck, just not really liking either part of it. So they made Dewey like basically a drunk. Is that what he's supposed to be in the movie? Is just like a fucking kind of recluse drunk? Like, that's what it seems. He's not drinking it.
Living in a trailer park. He's down on the dumps and he needs something to get him up. You know what that is?
What time is it? It's cold, yeah, so there's that shit. And then, like, they really don't do anything.
Born to be Rad just got out of seeing Scream 5 or 5 Scream.
Yeah, they don't do anything with Sydney. She's just kind of there, like, after, all the shit happens with Dewey, and then she's, there at the very end of the movie, but really it doesn't really do anything. I guess Gail is probably the most used character of any of them, really. But she was never interesting to me in the films anyway, except maybe like the first one. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. And then the new cast is just like, what the fuck ever. The lead's awful. Like, she ain't worth the shit. Like, even if you like the movie, that lead actress, the one that was Amber, I guess.
Dude, her and then the boyfriend guy, which looks like, if Josh Jackson has a son, he'd probably look like that guy. It's like, that's almost like, okay, you can look at him and he's like, okay, he's one of the killers. So I was kind of surprised that they went that route. I figured it would be somebody else. Because it's like so obvious that he would be the killer.
Yeah.
In it.
I mean, and I can't. Honestly, they were trying to shove the one girl down your throat as being like the cool new character that everybody's going to like. And I can't remember her name now. But you had like the jock, and you had her and their brother and sister. And I didn't like either one of those characters, but they were really trying to like make her like the cool one, and then she survived, so you know she's going to be in the next fucking movie. But like, other than that, I really can't even like think of all the rest of the characters were just kind of there. You know.
Yeah, I mean the cast was full of forgettable people. Like really, I mean they were just kind of like throwaway. They almost look like actors and actresses that would be in the spoof movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they bring back Deputy Judy, which is one of, like, the worst characters ever. Which
you
is
don't like
fucking...
Deputy Judy?
In the fourth film, if they're going to bring back anybody, why couldn't they find something for fucking Stu or Kirby? Like, those characters were actually awesome. I guess they can't do anything with Kirby. But they could say she lived. Fuck. Like, I mean, none of that matters anyway.
Did Kirby die? I can't even remember.
Yeah, she gets stabbed, like, in the stomach in the middle of the fourth one by the... Macaulay Culkin's
I thought she survived though at the
brother.
end.
Did she survive? Fuck, I can't remember. I don't think I ever really made
Maybe
it.
they couldn't afford her. She's too big of a name. They have to get all these people from Netflix shows.
I don't know if they ever go back to her after she gets stabbed. Somebody in here might know that, but yeah.
Yeah, Dewey's death is kind of, and we spoiled all kinds of shit so far. So
yeah, I mean, if you're in here and don't know, you're kind of like fucked at this point.
Yeah. So, it was kind of uneventful, and there was nothing really. I don't know. I guess that they did need to kill at least one of them, so Dewey was it.
Okay, but here's the part I can't understand. All right, I get the fact that they wanted to kind of do that because you have to have something big happen in the movies at this point, right? But I mean, couldn't it have meant something like?
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I think it was Corey that mentioned, that Gail Weathers looked a lot like Caitlyn Jenner. So Garrett's got that stuck in his head now.
I mean, I kind of feel like at this point, okay, like he gets killed in the middle of the fucking film. It doesn't do anything at all to advance the story or to like, do anything. Like, couldn't he have gotten killed at the end of it trying to save somebody or something? Like, wouldn't it have been... I mean, he was trying to save somebody in that, but, like, I mean, like, run in front of somebody, like seeing that's going to get shot. Something fucking meaningful.
Kirby is alive. So maybe they're saving Kirby for Scream 666, The Curse of Ghostface.
I mean, Kirby was I don't give a shit. Kirby was a great character. Like, she acted her ass off in that movie. And she had, like, one of the better... kind of just I don't know how to explain, like better character arcs in the whole kind of film to it. And probably the only good thing about Scream 4, really.
Phantasmat said that Deputy Judy and Neve Campbell looked really good. I thought Deputy Judy had aged quite a bit. That's just me. I mean, I guess for her age, she still looked good. I don't know how old she is.
Yeah.
But, Neve Campbell looked pretty good.
But I think... there is, and I'm not going to say like, I'm not going to shit all over this movie, even though people should be pretty clear by now that I didn't like it. But I'll say that like I understand why people would like it. Number one, it's like the most violent film of the series. So if that's the thing that you're into, and that's what a lot of people are into, then that's one reason you probably liked it. Number two, like, it was actually filmed really well. Like, the way that the movie looked and kind of, like, the cinematography was really good. So I get that part, too. The problem, like, for me and where it kind of falls apart was, like, the story, the execution of the story, the actresses, just some of the shit that was completely meaningless. Just... I mean, what was the purpose of having her have the hallucination just to get him in the film? What was the purpose of killing Dewey the way they did? Just to fucking pull a, Force Awakens kind of moment where you fucking kill off one of the main characters. It really... Mm-hmm. But see, in the Force Awakens, this is why that's different. In that film, they kill off one of the main characters, but that's to show, like, how far out, Adam Driver is. Like, how just fucking... much of an evil person he is. In this one, so he goes on for the rest of the series. In this one, it's like it doesn't mean anything because the person that did it fucking dies at the end of the movie anyway. So what was the point?
That's true. I think that there's definitely going to be more of them, though. The movie did very well. And I got to say, for me, I mean, I had such low expectations going into this movie that it would have had to been extremely terrible for me to shit all over it. And I didn't think it was. I mean, I think that it definitely was an improvement over part 4. I don't think you agree with that. But I mean, I thought it felt more like a Scream movie than the fourth one, and which that would be my least favorite of the whole franchise, would be part 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to defend anything about part 4, to be honest. Like, and I'm not saying that I even like that movie. I'm just saying that to me that felt more like a Scream movie than part 5 did. And maybe, you know, whoever made this movie was trying to do something completely fucking different. And this is the first one of them that wasn't directed by Wes Craven, so it's going to be different regardless. But just, I don't know.
I think Anthony mentioned, though, that Hayden Panettiere does not act anymore, so that may have been why she...
You know she's fucking married to, or was married to, Vladimir Klitschko, the big fucking Russian boxer.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but
it's showing on IMDb that the last movie that she did was in 2016. So that was like, you're going on 6 years. She hasn't done anything. I wonder what the hell she's doing.
I mean, I guess she don't have to do anything. Like, he's like a multi-millionaire. He was the goddamn champion for like 10 years or something.
Oh, that's true. She's just sitting back and spending his money, baby.
Yeah. So, but, okay, so let's talk some, though, about, so when you saw the Dewey thing happen, like, what was your reaction?
I mean, I was expecting one of them at least. I mean, you know, I think that it's the point now where they need to, if they're wanting to continue on with the Scream movies, they need it with all new people. And I don't know how you would really go about doing that. I mean, and being... It's kind of hard, like with Scream, because there's never really been the same killer come back from one movie to the next, right? It's always somebody different. So, yeah, you'd have to be crazy creative to really build another kind of a trilogy story around that. Because, like you said, I mean, the two people that were responsible in this movie, they're both dead. So with Scream 6, where do you go now? I mean, is it just more crazy people that are wanting to get, you know, are fans of the stab movies that are wanting to get their name out there? I mean, it's kind of boring if you do that it seems like they've done that the last couple of movies.
I get the feeling that from watching it, like they had to be trying to base a new film around the Amber character. The one that has the hallucinations and shit, because like she seemed to be the one that would like move forward in this, like her and the sister, I guess, because you know, like what was the point of any of that if she's not going to be a recurring character in like future movies where she's going to be like the new Sydney, basically running around like having hallucinations and kicking people's ass and stuff. But I would say what they'll probably end up doing is just having a whole new one. If they make another one, it'll be a whole new one with just like a whole new case. They won't even reference part 5, I would guess.
So she may have done the TV show Nashville. I don't count that.
Yeah. And then, but that, you know. So the other person that got killed in the film we haven't talked about is Deputy Judy. Which I was glad for that. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like
the death scenes in this, too, are pretty damn gruesome.
Yeah.
Put them over there, like you've got some neck shots that are, I think they did it with CGI, but it worked. I mean, it looked pretty good.
Yeah, the one of, I can't even remember his name, but her kid, that one was like, that looked...
Yeah, the guy that's in a shit ton of Netflix shows.
Right. That looked amazing, but, like, and her death I was fine with that, because she's just a character that, like, she never needed to be in the film anyway. Yeah,
and this one, she's been promoted up to sheriff.
Right.
You know. And I guess one of the gimmicks in this movie, too, is the killer kind of clones different phones. So you can get a text from, oh, you think that's Clara or whoever, and it's really Ghostface.
Yeah.
Or whoever Ghostface is. So that's one aspect. They try to change things up a little bit like that in each movie, and this was kind of a weak one. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as the movies go, would you put Scream 5 dead last? How would you rank?
I mean, I would,
back?
but I honestly would say like that 4 and 5 are neck and neck anyway. Like it might just be like one or two stupid things that maybe kind of put like 5 at the very end. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like everybody that's bitching about me not liking this film, like I'm glad you liked it. You should be like glad that I didn't like it because it really don't matter like one way or the other. It's just an opinion.
Garrett says that Scream 5 is the best sequel by far.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just an opinion. But the fact is that if you're going to kill somebody in any movie that's a franchise that's been like in every single film, that it should have some sort of meaning. Like you shouldn't just be doing shit to be doing it. Like just to say that, oh yeah, we killed off one of the main characters. Like it should have a purpose because you're assuming they're going to make more of these fucking films. But I don't know. Maybe people.
They're always going to be more. Like I just can't wait to see what they do with the Halloween franchise next, because you've got the movie that's coming out later this year. Halloween is never going to end, folks. They may take a couple years off, but they might start making sequels for Rob Zombie's Halloween again or something like that.
Well, I think, honest to God, man, like speaking of Halloween, I think that I'm pretty positive that whoever did this just looked at like Halloween Kills and was like, all right, this made a shit ton of money. So like we need to make this as brutal as humanly possible. And then that's what'll like get us, over the, and I mean, it reminds me a lot of that movie.
These movies are I think they did that with maybe Halloween 18, because this film was made and in the can for a solid year before it came out due to COVID. And I think that was the same thing with Halloween Kills as well. Those were victims of the pandemic a little bit. But yeah, I mean, and they kind of poke fun at it as well, calling them requels, like we were saying in the movie, where it's kind of like they're done with numbers. It's just the name again. And how many times Halloween has done it, 3 different times?
Yes.
So, why not, Bulls? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, there's a formula to these movies now. I mean, just like there was in the 80s, just like there was in the 90s. And there's a really specific formula now to these last couple franchise films. It just so happens that I don't like that formula. Like, I'm not a fan of it.
I think Kevin mentioned something here, and it's true. He says the film was redundant and stale. It offered nothing new to the franchise. And that's surprising coming from a fresh creative crew who are diehard fans of the series. I think the thing that was most redundant about this movie was the end. Like the explanation. Right? I mean, it's the same freaking thing that they've always
It's exactly said. The same. Yeah, that's what... Like, that was the biggest disappointing part of this movie was just the end. Like, that, I was expecting, okay, they've had years and years to do this, right? Had what? 11 years now to do it. Mm-hmm. Like they could have thought of anything in the world to make it like new or fresh, and they did the exact same shit with basically the exact same reason. They didn't mix it. Like at least in Scream 1 and 2, like the ending caught you off guard. And like you can say whatever you want to about Scream 2, but nobody fucking knew that Laurie Metcalf was one of the killers in Scream 2. You just didn't. Like nobody saw that coming at all. So it was like a surprise, and like you were like, oh fuck, like I wouldn't have ever thought of that. And in Scream 1, just the idea of having 2 killers was a surprise at that point. By the time you get to Scream 3, it's like, yeah, it's just, nobody was really surprised. Scream 4, and then this one is like, same shit.
Woodrow Purvis, thank you for the super chat, brother. Scream 3 is worth it just for the midget basketball scene alone. What the hell's that? I don't remember that either.
Basketball scene.
It's a little person now, man. That offends the little people. You're not supposed to say the word midget.
Kentucky. Look. Yeah, that's what would have set it over the edge.
What is it now? He said Ghostface should have lectured some fat girl for 15 minutes like that fan film. That's true.
Yeah. I was just about as enjoyable.
Yeah. Let's see here. Texas Chainsaw's doing a requel. That one's coming out on Netflix early next month, Uncle Bill. That'll be a fun one to talk about.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure I'll love that.
Maybe not to watch.
I'm sure that will be amazing. But, I mean, okay, so the ending comes up, and we can talk about, like, the kind of the gist of the ending. They all end up in Stu's house, which, by the way, like, couldn't they have found something for Stu to do in this fucking movie? Like, if they found something for, you know, Billy, like, they could have found something for him. Like, I feel really bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, I would be almost the point where they should have done something where one of those characters is actually still alive.
Yeah, anything.
And he's kind of the mastermind behind what all's going on or whatever. I think that would have been cool to do that.
Like, just do anything surprising. You know what I mean? And they did, you know, they killed Dewey, but I think everybody thought they're going to kill. And they basically, like, came out and said, you know, it's going to be a whole new kind of thing. We're going to kill off somebody from the original. So everybody was kind of expecting that. But, like, I think the ending would have been a good time to do something different.
You know what, though? You briefly see it in this one. Sydney has a kid now, right? So do you think that could come into play in a future movie, right? You know for a fact that Neve Campbell's doing all these movies that she's asked to do. So they can maybe introduce, maybe it's 10 years down the line or something like that or whatever, and introduce it that way where now Ghostface is coming after Sydney's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I think the sky's the limit now because really, like, there's absolutely zero point in having anybody from the original come back now. Like, it just, you know, wouldn't make any sense, but I'm sure they will just for the money part of it. But
is it weird that I always get scary movies mixed up with the Scream sequels? Not really, because they're a lot of the same sort of deal. I mean, especially the first scary movie is basically like another Scream film, kind of. It
is, yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, Scream 4 is like a scary movie in a lot of ways.
Scream 4 is more like a scary movie than any of the rest of them, really.
Yeah.
Just how kind of goofy it is and everything. So they end up in Stu's house.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they don't really know that at the time, but you come find that out later. And, you know, all the old characters that are left come in. All the new characters are in there, and then you reveal who the killer was. Which the killers in this one, like you were saying, is the goofy boyfriend, which pretty much you could have seen that coming.
Josh Jackson Jr.
Yeah, and the chick from the Quentin Tarantino movie.
The girl that she's texting in the beginning of the film. The same character. Amber, or whatever the hell her name was.
And when I saw her, like when I saw that the chick from... you know, oh God, I cannot believe I can't think of that fucking movie. Hollywood. It's got the word Hollywood in it. Why can't I?
Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
No, the Tarantino movie. Fuck.
Once Upon a Time
in Hollywood. Yeah. So, like, when I saw her and I realized who she was, I was like, they're going to use her. Like, there's, you know, she's too noticeable and, like, she's too much of, like, a identifiable that they're going to use her further in the film. And that, sure enough, like, she was the second killer. Which doesn't make a goddamn lick of sense because, like you were saying, she kills Dewey. But she's, like, probably 5'2" and maybe, like, 95 pounds. And he's probably 6'2", somewhere in that range,
and he's overpowered by a little freaking
girl.
And
it just all right.
And the little girl gets shot 2 or 3 times.
But I guess if you want to be serious about it, if you go back to Scream 2, Laurie Metcalf ain't fucking killing anybody either. You know what I mean? She's not.
That's true.
She's
She
not.
had a little bit more meat on her bones than that girl, though.
Yeah, that's true. She
at least looked like somebody that could, you might not want to mess with. She had like the look in her eye.
The eye of the tiger.
Yeah. Michael Rajpal with another super chat, man. We appreciate it. How do you end Sydney's arc? It's not like Halloween where Michael is dead and there's closure. They need a hard reboot at this point.
That's a good question, really. Like,
it's hard with Scream because, like we were saying, I mean, what do you really do? Ghostface, it's not like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger. Ghostface is never the same person. It's a different person in each movie. And it's always an obsessed fan of the Stab movies. Something along those lines. Or somebody who's wanting to get famous from, those events. I don't know. So it's tough, man. I mean, you're almost the point where you could just do a reboot of it and change the story a little bit to where Ghostface is not, just a dude in an outfit. I don't know how you do it.
I swear to God, though, what I wish they would have done, just because I think this would have kind of been the ultimate end to the movie, or to her characters, made her the killer. Just be like, okay, she flipped her shit. Like, she'd been dealing with this for so long that, like, she just lost her mind. And then it turns out that she ends up being the killer at the end. And that, what a great reveal that would have been at the end of that fucking movie. If she'd have just, like, done the, Anthony Bates thing, or the Norman Bates thing, and just, like, at the end had that look in her face and just be like, oh, she's fucking flipped her shit, and then end up killing her off.
Oh, Curly Jaws has a good idea here. See what you think of this, Uncle Bill. All right, so here's the plot for Scream 6. Some kids are playing in a graveyard, doing some bullshit, and they somehow resurrect Stu and Billy, and they come after Sydney. Call it Scream Resurrections.
Kind of like Friday 13 Part 6. They fucking get struck by lightning. They're zombies. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's zombie Ghostface.
Right. He's unstoppable now. But don't you think, though, I mean, seriously, what a perfect way to end that character, just because, so one of the new people kills, like, the ultimate old regular Baptist. No, the ultimate old regular.
Old regular Baptist.
One of the main original characters. Like, there couldn't have been a better way to just end that. But now it's just like, no, I'm doing the same shit I was before. I'm coming here to save you. It's been 5 fucking times, but that's what I do.
It's really hard, though, I don't know how you would do it. I mean, the guys that made this movie are definitely talented filmmakers. But yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything as far as the plot towards the end that was any different than had been done before. It's the exact same shit.
Yeah, that was like I said, the biggest disappointment. Like, I really thought they were going to do something.
Rob Zombie Scream, where we see young Ghostface get bullied while Creed plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, that was Scream 5 Cream. Scream is what they chose to call it. You going to pre-order the Steelbook, Uncle Bill, and get it? 4K?
No, I'm not going to pre-order the Steelbook. I didn't pre-order the fucking Halloween Kills Steelbook, and I'm never going to fucking get that either. But
never?
No.
What if it's $10 for Black Friday?
Well, am I ever going to watch it again? No.
You're going to watch it again!
Kevin Ketchy, which is a great name. I think that's probably the point, the way that I felt about it the most. It was just, everything felt forced. Just like that they had to kill one of the main characters. They had to have all these like dialogue and exposition scenes in the middle of it. They had the ending, like they had to have a dialogue for fucking 20 minutes about why they were doing it. Just like, and everything about it was just like, just like they had a formula of what they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I think I'm going to make you hate it. I feel like some of these points are resonating and you're starting to turn towards the dark side.
I didn't hate it. I mean, I understand where you're coming from through every bit of it, but like I was saying before, my initial expectations going in, I didn't expect anything at all. And it kind of surprised me. I mean, it felt like a Scream movie. Red Right Hand made a comeback. I kind of marked out.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting they chose to bring Skeet Ulrich back for the first time ever in any of the Scream sequels. He's never reprised that role, even though it's kind of dumb. I mean, why would the daughter have flashbacks of a guy that she never knew? She probably didn't even know what he looked like.
For the same reason the dog has flashbacks in The Hills Have Eyes too, because they just don't know what the fuck they're doing. I mean, yeah. I will give it that. The scene where the song gets played, that was a pretty good way to do that. Like, I'll give him that.
Yeah, and it had some good gore scenes, death scenes, stuff like that in it. Some brutal shit, for sure. Bones breaking even. I don't like that even in a movie. I don't like this.
That scene was fucking rough too. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the motive goes, though, we were talking about this before. It's weak. It's the same thing that they've done over and over again.
It really is. Like, I didn't like any of that. I just like the fact somebody says, I want to see someone have hallucinations of Aunt Jackie from Roseanne in Scream 6.
That would be killer.
That would be the best shit ever.
I would.
Laurie Metcalf's in the back seat of your car, like, come on, kill him. Fucking pussies.
Are you surprised that Garrett ordered the Steelbook before he even saw the movie?
I couldn't be any less surprised about anything. No.
Let's see here. Any other questions or anything about Aunt Jackie from Roseanne? Or yeah, I mean, the motive was weak. It definitely. I think that they could have. I mean, I don't know what I would have done, but they could have probably done something a little bit better than that.
That's what I mean. You got all the money and all the time in the world, and that is like the best that you could do at the end of that movie. I just do not understand it.
No. But yeah, as far as Scream goes, with the success at the box office, I mean, this movie has already made over $50-some million. I would venture to guess that it's going to have a sequel pretty quick, probably within the next couple of years.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah, they'll pump out a sequel as soon as they can. And I think all those franchise movies are going to be hugely popular.
Why are you drinking from a red Solo cup, Uncle Bill? What's in the cup?
It's honestly just Coke, but I just had it.
What else is in the Coke?
Red liquor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
They're not going to stop. There are going to be more sequels. Companies don't care about, like, stuff that we talk about on here. They care about the fucking almighty dollar, and they made a shit ton of it. And really, if you look at it, so I can't remember what Halloween made when the Halloween Kills opened. Maybe we should go back and look at that. Somebody look that up for us. But Halloween Kills also opened on HBO Max, so I think they fucked up there. They could have easily, I mean, they could have made way more money had they just had it a theatrical movie. Scream didn't do that. I think Scream would have maybe benefited a little bit more by doing that, though. Because right now, man, COVID it's pretty hardcore right now.
Yeah, it's probably as bad as worse than it's ever been right now. So I kind of agree. They probably shouldn't have gone that route with it. But Garrett wanted to know Scream 5 or Candyman. There's really no like comparison. Candyman was one of the worst fucking things that I've seen. Like in a, I thought that those kind of reboots or remakes were over with, and then that one shows up, and I'm just like, God, that's about as bad as it gets.
Well, what's even worse is the preview trailers and stuff for it actually made it look like it could be really good, but no.
Scream 5 or Halloween Kills? Fuck. I think... What a horrible fucking comparison to...
I'll say right now it's Halloween Kills for me. I liked it better.
I think it would be for me too. Yeah.
Halloween Kills, not for the fact that it was actually good, but just for the fact that it had some fucking stupid shit in it that entertained me. Like
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
I mean, there's just so much goofy shit in it, and then I did like the flashback 78 scenes as well. But I don't know, it'd be kind of close, I guess. Those two would be.
I think that maybe the goofy factor, like just
Hawkins!
yeah,
What's going on in here?
the Evil Dies Tonight shit, and the stuff with the reject Sam Loomis, and the stuff with yeah, with the resetting the 78 stuff. Like that all probably pushes that one over the edge.
Yeah. All right, man. Look, we got a special pick
yes.
from gay actor Michael Douglas. What's going on, gay actor Michael Douglas?
I think that
Scream 5 had Sam Loomis in it.
Was that her name, Samantha Loomis?
Oh,
yeah.
I know that one of them was what, Carpenter, right?
Yeah, that was the other one was Carpenter. Yeah.
No,
it was an Amber Carpenter. Was that her?
I have no idea.
Who was the
Phantasm is disappointed in us. He said not even close. Scream wins over Halloween Kills easily. What's going on, man?
What's going on in y'all?
Oh, shit. But yeah, we appreciate everybody joining us. If you have any more questions real quick, we'll go through them. But this is kind of the midweek show for this week. We figured, what the fuck, let's do it. And let's do it live like Bill O'Reilly, circa 1993.
Fuck it.
What was incredible, Kevin Ketchy? Did Ghostface kill again? What the hell's going on in y'all? They need to hire me for the next one if they have more flashback scenes.
All right, so Russ says, does scream pounding anybody can be the killer annoy you? I thought it was kind of like they kept saying that shit, like it can be anybody. Like it can be anybody, it's always somebody you know, and like anybody can be the killer. It's like
the love interest.
We know.
Always, the number one. I think that's a good idea, Garrett. We've had a couple people mention that. We'll have to figure out a good thing to call it. But yeah, all the post-Scream slasher movies from the late 90s, early 2000s. Well, not all. I don't know if you can do all of them. But I think that'd be a fun show for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Like Urban Legend and I Know What You Did Last Summer and Valentine. There's like a million of those movies.
Mm-hmm. Soul Survivors.
Oh, shit. You have to bring that up.
Eliza Duthku, baby. Doug Connor. I guess we didn't mention the whole franchise, but Uncle Bill, you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exactly like they're made, really.
I would do 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. Change it up a little bit. 4 is the worst one. Last time I watched 4, I was like, I'm never, ever going to watch this again. If it's up to me, I'll never say, hey, it's Scream 4. Let's fucking, let's check it out. True. Cherry Falls is an interesting one too, Dylan mentioned earlier. That's another one that got kind of lost in the shuffle around that time period and was delayed forever. But yeah, it was a post-Scream slasher movie that I don't think it ever come out in theaters, though.
I've got that in there. Scream Factory put it out, I think.
Holy shit, was he shooting when he said he thought 5 was the best sequel?
No. He was shooting, yeah.
We might have a falling out over that, Garrett.
So it's Scream 5, 2, 4, 3.
I thought he said he hated 2.
He did, but I guess he hated 4 and 3 more.
All this hate for Scream. Look here,
Thank you, Russ. I feel like Russ and I are on the same wavelength.
Hey, well, I'll agree. Well, the Kirby character was probably better than any new character in the 5th movie, but the movie as a whole was bad. 4 was.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue that.
Final Stab has a special edition Blu-ray, Uncle Bill. We should buy it.
God.
As in we, I'm meaning you. You should get it.
Right.
I can borrow it off of. Oh gosh, but yeah, I guess that is it. We kind of just wanted to do we didn't do a full-blown review for Scream, and a lot of people are still talking about it. A lot of people overall, overwhelming, it's a positive response from this movie, Uncle Bill. I mean, it's 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty damn good for Rotten Tomatoes.
That's true. So somebody did ask, though, what do you think was the most memorable death in the film?
The one that was Deputy Judy's son, his death scene. That one got me. I was like,
God damn. Yeah.
Fuck.
I thought it was the chick from the Manson family. Like, where she catches on fire and then goes running through the house and shit.
That was almost kind of
great.
That was kind of goofy, though, actually. But
I thought it was great because you know that, like, they're just basing that off of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like, it's just a throwback to that movie.
Mm-hmm. What will they call the Scream sequel? I think it'll be something like Scream Redemption.
Shit.
Something like that. This time, he's taking his love of Scream movies just one step
it'll
far.
It'll be an R word. It'll be Scream Revelations, Scream Resurrections, Scream
Scream until you like it. Never gonna stop. Speaking of which, is everybody jealous that I have the new Scream soundtrack on CD?
Oh my God.
And I also have the new Scream on VHS right here. Yeah.
Screams. Yeah, that sounds like that could be it.
I think that they could have gotten away with calling it Screams and have the S be a stylized 5. Doug Connor, real quick here. Man, you shouldn't even ask me this. The Forest or Final Exam?
There's nothing worse than Final Exam, is there? Damn.
No, The Forest times 10. But, guys, we appreciate you joining us on here. What else are we going to do, Uncle Bill? I know we've got a couple of reviews we need to get to. Oh, Curly Jaws was one of them that did the Baller and Shock Collar. And guess which one that he picked for us to review, Uncle Bill? You know the two that we've got right now.
What?
Piranha 3 Double D.
It's like, yeah.
I think that's old Curly Jaws.
That's actually a good one to review because we saw that. I know we did. I don't remember anything about it. Like, nothing. I remember more about the other Piranha than that, which is like maybe 2 scenes. So
yeah, I think Eli Roth was in the first Piranha 3D. So the movies that we're reviewing for Patreon this month, and you guys definitely want to check it out over at DEADPIT on Patreon.com. Review show, we are looking at Titane from last year. It's a French movie that's fucked up. That's all I know about it. And
I can't wait till you watch that.
D.
I have not been gleeful that you're going to watch a certain movie in a long time. But and listen, you need to try to watch this with Sarah too.
Really?
Oh yeah. Just to see.
I will.
Just to see her reaction.
Dylan has a song request for us to do the Creed song with My Ass Wide Open.
What? Did we do that at one time?
I don't know. I can't remember. But Titane, yeah, I know that's one that Matt was talking about on a show not too long ago. Scream Until You Like It may be a good... Maybe that's the name of the sequel.
Scream until you like it.
Never gonna stop. Scream Until It Hurts.
Screamies.
So, yeah, we will catch you guys next time. I'm not sure what all hell we're doing. We don't plan this shit.
Oh, fuck. I know what they'll do.
What?
They won't do any of that. They'll just call it Ghostface. That's what they'll do.
So it's a new series, don't call it Scream.
Yeah, because like what they did with Jigsaw and all that shit, they'll just fucking call the next one Ghostface.
Let me ask you this though. I thought Ghostface was the mask makers owned Ghostface. So the people that own Scream don't necessarily own the name Ghostface.
I think that's true because like they've been doing shirts and figures and shit with just Ghostface because they don't have the rights to Scream, but you can get the rights to Ghostface for probably a lot cheaper, I'd say.
So that'll be interesting. Maybe they aren't legally able to call it Ghostface.
You may be right.
Scream Revelations coming soon.
Scream Redemptions. Yeah.
The redemption of Scream.
Oh.
All right, guys. We appreciate everybody joining us, though. Definitely give us a thumbs up on all this shit because we need it. Pretend like you're Hacksaw Jim Duggan and go, ah!
Tough guy.
Because it definitely helps. And check out our Patreon page. We have 90 patrons, Uncle Bill. Can you believe there's 90 patrons? Can we get 100 this year in 2022? I think we can.
We're going to. We're going to fucking blast everything wide open.
Thousands of hours of content, almost 100 fan commentaries, 250 classic Dead Pit shows almost, 230 some midweek shows. I mean, it's just fucking ridiculous.
It's by far the best thing going.
Yeah.
Far and away.
So, until next time, I'm the Creepy Kentuckian.
I'm Uncle Bill.
And you can check us out every week, every day, every damn hour of the day over at DEADPIT.com. Welcome. It's the January the 25th edition of the MWO podcast. This came out this past week, and we haven't really talked about it. I know we've seen it, but we're going to do a watch along for the new Scream 6 trailer. A lot of people are talking about it. Scream 5 was, a year ago at this point, and I think this new Scream's coming out in March. So we're going to do a watch along here live on the MWO and give you our feedback on it. Well, does that sound all right to you?
I can't wait, man. I've already seen this trailer. It's going to be awesome to talk about it. Yeah.
So let's get it queued up here.
Here we go.
Are you ready, Aaron?
I'm ready.
Whatever the hell your name is.
Let's go. Hi, Gina Ortega.
Gina Ortega is in everything now.
Yep. Oh, somebody shit on his mask.
It's an aged Ghostface mask.
Of course it is.
He's got a gun now.
Oh. Blast, motherfucker. What's up?
Take that.
He turned into fucking Ice Cube.
So why would there be an aged Ghostface mask?
I don't know.
Well, they kind of...
Supposedly, they're alluding to the fact that that's the original mask. Like, that's the Billy Loomis mask.
Yeah, it's got some sort of force for whoever puts it on.
That's it right there. So they're thinking that that's, Loomis's daughter, so she found it somehow or another.
We share a certain history.
There's Hayden Panera. Hayden Panera Bread.
Like any other Ghostface.
What is this place?
It's not like any other Ghostface boys. This Ghostface here is where it's at.
It's Ghostface.
It's a Ghostface collector. This March, let's play a game. Let's play a goddamn game.
Right. It never works out for the dipshit in the mask.
Maybe, but there's never been one.
It looks like she's the one wearing a mask.
Promise that there's never been another like me.
I'm something different.
They ought to have that Taylor Swift song playing. No, I'm still alive, bitch. Yeah, good.
What will do now? Me. So let's finish this.
We're like, who the hell's that? I think she was in the 5th movie.
surprise.
And you see all these horror villains in the background here: Freddy and Jason and Pinhead and the Wolfman.
Magenta from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Scream Part 6. Okay.
Screamy Takes Manhattan.
Yeah. So, how'd you like that, Uncle Bill?
I loved it. I give it 10 out of 10.
Shit.
There was nothing wrong with that trailer at all, as somebody on here pointed out. Like, hey, you should be super hyped to watch that.
Yeah, I saw some people say, "Oh, I was actually kind of surprised by." What were you really? What the fuck is? I watched it and I was like, "Eh." It seems like just a.
It's like every other trailer you've ever seen in your fucking life, man. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, he's in Manhattan this time. Ghostface Takes Manhattan.
I think people just see shit nowadays. Like, they're so used to being on their phone and stuff. They see something and they forget what they've seen in like 30 seconds. So the next thing that comes along, they're like, "Oh God, this looks awesome." It's like, no, it's the same shit you've seen 100 times before. It's the same style trailer. It's not changed.
Michael Long is not a fan of Scream 6 either. And none of the Facebook users in here like it. So, but yeah, I guess that is it for the podcast this week. We appreciate.
No, it ain't it. I ain't done bitching about that goddamn trailer. You listen. The only interesting thing about that fucking trailer to me is there's some sort of weird, like, conspiracy thing about the Ghostface killers, right? Because they go into the room and there's like all the different like costumes. Now, if you slow that down and look at it, because some people have done that, that room is filled with like memorabilia from all the other movies. So you have like Rose McGowan's shirt, and you've got like Billy Loomis's shirt. There's guns and knives and stuff like that from all the other movies. So the thought is that there's somebody that's collecting like all of the stuff from all the previous movies and somehow or another like using it in these different kind of like killings, and or maybe there's a whole like cult like Michael Myers style, you know. Fuck. I swear to God. But I guarantee you this right now, it ain't gonna be worth a shit. I don't care what it is. It could be a cult. It could be like one or two people. It could be a dog underneath that mask. It's going to suck ass because they can't make a movie.
Well, here's the only thing that it's got going for it to me. They have rushed it. So they're not thinking about it very much. So there's a possibility.
Fuck, when are they ever?
Well, I think a lot of the times, like the one previous to this, how many years did they work on that? So
I mean, they had a long time to work on it. Yeah,
there's a slim chance that it could be okay just because they don't give a fuck and they're pushing it out there. But we'll have to wait and see. It is Ghostface Takes Manhattan. I'm thinking that they may throw a few nods just because it's so similar. There may be something Jason Takes Manhattan-ish in this movie, like Darkest Side of the Night. If they played that song in that movie, that alone, I would like it just because of that. If they were to do that, give that homage.
I don't think they have the balls to do that. Really,
it's a Paramount movie. They could totally do it. They could play they've still got the rights to that damn song. So
I hope they do something different, man. I don't have any faith in any of these franchise movies. So good luck, bitches.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna matter anyway because everybody will go and see it. Like they can just fucking take a shit on the screen.
Didn't our good buddy Tony Moran, wasn't he dating one of the Scream people?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's dating Fancy Nancy.
Fancy fucking Nancy. Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that DEADPIT puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I don't care. Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey everyone, it's Oak Early Jaws. We got some great shirts for you. We got Faces of Death Part 2. We got Creepy Stories to Tell in Kentucky. The Colonel Would Approve. We still got DeadPit.com. We got DeadPit Radio with the little fucking DeadPit dude on there. We got It Never Ends, a Halloween spoof parody of the new movie. We got It at Night. We got the Rat Pack, Uncle Rat himself. It just gets better and better. So go on and get you some shirts over at Team Public. It just gets better and better, boss.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. DeadPit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.